Chapter 254. In the afternoon, the windows of the school building next to Fore Valley Station were crystal clear. A light breeze blew into the classroom, and the white curtains danced in the wind. By the window, there was a hardcover book with a bookmark. On the sofa, there were comic books scattered everywhere. In front of the TV, there were various video game consoles that had not been picked up. The beech tree outside seemed like it was about to grow into the room. Sunlight and leaves swayed on the beach table, where the boy was sleeping soundly. Che. He always felt like he was forgetting something. Watanabe. He could always hear someone's voice calling out to him. The sun swayed in the air, and the boy sleeping on the beach table slowly woke up and yawned leisurely. The white ceiling, bright but not glaring ceiling light. There was a faint fragrance at the tip of his nose, familiar and intimate. Toru Watanabe turned his head and saw Miki Kujo's sleeping face. The two of them were lying on a luxurious single bed. She took up most of the space, and most of the blanket was wrapped around her. Needless to say, she slept in the middle. If it wasn't for the fact that the pillow was long enough, he would have nothing. Toru Watanabe reached out and touched her delicate face, tidied up her messy hair, and wiped away the tears at the corner of her eyes. Miki Kujo opened her eyes. Toru Watanabe laughed and asked in a low voice, "Miki, my Miki, are you all right?" They felt each other's breathing and looked at each other. "You got my permission?" Miki Kujo questioned. "What permission?" "Wake up, touch my face, and block in front of me." "Touching your face is fine, but aren't the other two too harsh? Can't I approve it afterwards?" "No." "Then that's difficult. Just don't approve it." "Heh." Miki Kujo sat up with a cold smile. "Toru Watanabe, do you think that just because you blocked for me once, you can do whatever you want in front of me?" Toru Watanabe sat up as well. "Miki, my Miki, I want to hug you." Miki Kujo glanced at Toru Watanabe and raised her arrogant little face. "I'll allow it." Toru Watanabe hugged her graceful body, one hand circling her slender waist, the other stroking her slightly messy long hair. Miki Kujo leaned into his arms, her body trembling slightly. She used all her strength to hug Toru Watanabe tightly, as if she wanted to prevent him from moving. "In the future, you're not allowed to do anything without my permission," she ordered without allowing any explanation. Toru Watanabe hugged her even more tightly. Smelling the fragrance of her hair, his heart was at peace. The two of them didn't say anything and just hugged each other for a long time. When they parted, they could clearly feel each other's reluctance to part. They wished they could stay like this forever. Toru Watanabe looked around the room. There were solemn curtains, and outside the window was Tokyo at night. There was a luxurious combination of sofas and coffee tables, a television that covered half the wall, and a huge fridge. It was a luxurious suite. "Where is this? Where's Kiyono?" He wanted to ask the question, but in the end, he didn't ask it. While waiting for an answer, Miki Kujo suddenly pinched his waist hard. Ouch! Toru Watanabe endured the pain. "Miki, what are you doing?" "I'm still a patient." Looking around, "What are you looking for?" Miki Kujo sneered. "The room." "Rin Kiyono? It really hurts. Can you let go first?" "Or Aona Koizumi?" "I didn't say anything." Miki Kujo glared at Toru Watanabe, who had a pained expression, and pressed a button on the bedside. "Call for help?" "Miki, I think you can do it yourself." "If it's you, I definitely won't." "What's wrong?" Her voice was cold, and there was a hint of panic and nervousness in her voice. Rin Kiyono walked out of the small cubicle in the suite. She seemed to have just woken up. Her cherry-colored lips were stained with hair, and the bow on her school uniform was long on one side and short on the other. She wasn't wearing her school uniform jacket, and her shirt was wrinkled. Miki Kujo was still twisting her waist under the blanket. Toru Watanabe, whose face was full of pain, looked at Rin Kiyono. Hello, Kiyono-san. His waist really hurt. You look very happy, Toru Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono said with a cold smile. I suggest you go see an ophthalmologist. You're not happy? Miki Kujo pressed her face against his. Happy, I'm super happy. Toru Watanabe cried and laughed. It really hurt. The three of them talked as usual, enduring the magma-like heat. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe's eyes, shining. Toru Watanabe didn't know what happened during this time. Why did Miki Kujo allow Rin Kiyono to stay here? Why didn't she get angry when he looked for Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo pinched his waist? Did their relationship get better? Also, where did Aona Koizumi go now? Did she return safely? It was dark outside the window. Through his own reflection, Toru Watanabe looked at the orange Tokyo Tower in the distance. It was the nurse who brought the supper. Toru Watanabe realized that this was neither a villa nor a high-class hotel, but a high-class ward in a hospital. The portions of the food were small, but there was a variety of dishes. Each dish was spread out on the table. Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo got out of bed, and the three of them sat on the sofa and coffee table to eat. It looks delicious and very nutritious. Toru Watanabe had been hungry since the first class in the morning until now. Then eat more. Miki Kujo said. You just woke up, so you can't eat much. Rin Kiyono had a different opinion. What did the doctor say about my body? Toru Watanabe finally remembered to care about himself. Rin Kiyono drank a mouthful of soup as usual and said with satisfaction, Very healthy, you fell asleep. Nothing happened. Toru Watanabe ate a dish in one bite and looked at Miki Kujo. That medicine, I gave you one pill. Miki Kujo said. Toru Watanabe picked up the tofu in his bowl. Here, Miki, for you. Miki Kujo glanced at him. They ate separately. What Toru Watanabe had, they had. What Toru Watanabe didn't, they had. Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono finished their portions and ate some fruit. They also hadn't eaten for a day. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. The two of them had been worried all day. After eating, they rested for a while and went home. The lights in the room were turned off, and it was completely dark. Toru Watanabe lay in bed, the quilt only covering his lower abdomen. His head was resting on his left hand, and he stared at the ceiling for a while. The surroundings were silent, and the moonlight flowed. He seemed to hear the croaking of frogs. For a moment, he couldn't tell if it was because he missed his hometown or because there were really frogs around the hospital. Toru Watanabe prepared to sleep. He adjusted his sleeping position and faced the floor-to-ceiling window. The Tokyo Tower emitted an orange halo. He reached out his hand and pulled the light into his dream. At night, the dense forest cast layers of shadows. This was a quiet mountain path. Accompanied by the croaking of frogs and guided by the fireflies, Toru Watanabe arrived at the end of the path. There was a shrine here. On the steps in front of the shrine, the 16-year-old Aona Koizumi hugged her soft, girlish legs and curled up. Toru Watanabe walked up and sat beside her. If we don't go back now, our family will be worried, he said. Koizumi Aonai still hugged her legs tightly and buried her face in her knees. Toru Watanabe looked at the fireflies. Through the light of the fireflies, he could see the foot of the mountain through the forest. There was a small town there. The night light was not as dense as Tokyo's, but it was warm and peaceful. It was just right. Is this your hometown? Toru Watanabe looked at all of this. The night wind was gentle. He didn't know which tree it was, but he didn't know which insect's wings were flapping. In the forest, there were countless floating green fluorescent lights. Fireflies gathered there. I didn't do it on purpose. Aona Koizumi didn't speak for a long time. Her voice was hoarse. Toru Watanabe looked at her. She still buried her face in her knees. I know, he said. Don't worry, I'm fine. Aona Koizumi hugged her knees even tighter, not letting a trace of wind in. She curled up like a child who ran away from home in the night, waiting for her family to come find her. I don't blame you at all. Toru Watanabe continued. No matter what you did, I won't blame you. If you did anything wrong, I will apologize for you. You can be willful, you can be unpleasant to the eye, you can be disliked by others, or even hated by others, but I will accept it all. A firefly left the forest and flew above the shrine's path. Why? Aona Koizumi's voice was hoarse. Why? What caused all of this? Was it the system's fault? Did it deliberately not make it clear? A vague concept? What was the system? It was his own. It was innate. It was more intimate than his hands, feet, or appearance. It was something deep in his soul. When it was convenient, the system was his. When it caused trouble, the system was still his. He could only blame himself for accepting the mission. Everything was caused by him. It was Toru Watanabe's fault. Aona Koizumi should have stayed in this town and spent her happy new semester. She shouldn't have gone to a place like Tokyo to be wronged and held at gunpoint. Miki Kujo liked to be jealous and possessive. Her boyfriend was possessed by a woman and did what she did. Aona Koizumi also didn't do anything wrong. She didn't have the obligation to accommodate others. It wasn't like she wanted to do it. She didn't want to take over someone else's boyfriend's body. The person who brought her from 10 years ago to the present was Toru Watanabe. There was no need to care about whether Aona Koizumi was wrong or not. There was no need to analyze her personality. There was no need to count who should take responsibility for what happened. In the eyes of outsiders, there were thousands of reasons. In his heart, everything was his fault. It was him who made a 16-year-old girl go through all that she shouldn't have. Anyone could blame her, but he couldn't. However, he wasn't allowed to say the real reason. Toru Watanabe was full of guilt. He couldn't help but reach out and gently stroke Aona Koizumi's hair. "I'm sorry." His feelings were sincere. His voice was soft and sad. "I made you go through all of this." This inadvertent action had a kind of tenderness that made Aona Koizumi suffocate. The emptiness of being alone in the future. The inferiority of being compared to Kiyono, Kujo, and Osaka, these city girls. Knowing that in the future, she would be able to get into Waseda, but she couldn't do it. Surrounded by bodyguards, with guns pointed at her, Toru Watanabe was motionless. She had reached her limit and was on the verge of collapse. Aona Koizumi suddenly burst into tears. She threw herself into Toru Watanabe's arms. Her hands tightly grasped his clothes. She desperately squeezed out a voice from her throat and kept saying, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're okay, that's great. I'm sorry." Toru Watanabe stroked her hair and watched the firefly dance. On the path of the shrine, more fireflies flew one after another. "It has nothing to do with you. It's all my fault." No matter what Toru Watanabe said, Aona Koizumi just kept on crying. Her tears quickly soaked his clothes. Toru Watanabe felt even sadder. These tears, Aona Koizumi didn't need to be shed. Today was Friday. On this warm night, she should be with her family, or with new friends, discussing on her phone where to go on Saturday. No, it should be morning where Aona Koizumi was. She should be in a hurry to get out of bed, put on a new dress, grab a loaf of bread, and run to class. She shouldn't be here, with the guilt of almost killing someone, crying damned tears. "It's all my fault. I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Toru Watanabe had never been so sad. After crying for a long time, Toru Watanabe's clothes seemed to have been splashed with a cup of water. Only then did Aona Koizumi slowly stop crying. "I'm sorry," she said in a choked voice. "It's all my fault. I'm the one who should be saying sorry. I almost killed you. That's also my fault. It has nothing to do with you." Toru Watanabe's tone was firm. "Are you comforting me?" Aona Koizumi raised her face. That 16-year-old oval-shaped face was beautiful, youthful, full of vitality, and full of tears. "No." Toru Watanabe shook his head and answered in a low voice. "Why? It's because the future me was curious about the handsome guys in Tokyo, so I took over your body, causing you to have a conflict with your girlfriend, causing your life to become chaotic, and in the end, almost Toru Watanabe closed his eyes. In the heart of Koizumi Aonai, she was actually the same as him, taking all the responsibility for all these things on herself. But she was innocent. The one at fault was him. It's my fault. He patted her shoulder. Why? I can't tell you the reason. In short, it's my fault. What's wrong? Aona Koizumi punched Toru Watanabe's chest in dissatisfaction. Her hand touched the wet part of her face, and she embarrassedly left his embrace. Tomorrow, I'll help you wash them. She slightly tidied her skirt and embarrassedly hugged her slender legs. I'll change my clothes a day. Humph, rich people. Aona Koizumi said with a gloomy expression. Rich people, high above, out of reach. She, a high school girl from the countryside. I always say this. Toru Watanabe looked at the town in the distance. My happiest period was not when I had 1 billion yen, but when I first came to Tokyo from Iwate Prefecture, holding up billboards under the scorching sun to earn a salary. Liar. Toru Watanabe ignored her and continued. At that time, I had nothing. I lived in a cramped apartment, but I felt like I had the whole world, and my head was filled with great dreams. What about now? Aona Koizumi couldn't help but ask. I'm also very happy now. I love my Kasa-san and they love me very much too. At the end of the day, I still like the life of a rich person. Aona Koizumi looked at the fireflies on the path. I'm just saying this to tell you that whether I have money or not has nothing to do with whether I'm happy or not. Mickey can give me money, and I'm happy to work and earn money. Only you would be like this. Everyone likes to be given money. Just like how everyone naturally likes fashionable girls in the city, not girls from the countryside. Toru Watanabe turned to look at the girl. You're like this too. Me? Aona Koizumi turned her head in disbelief and looked at Toru Watanabe. In the future, you relied on your own efforts to get into Waseda University, and you planned to buy an apartment in Tokyo. You didn't get a single cent from anyone. You can't get it? You have such a beautiful oval face, a good figure, and a teacher. I don't want to earn that kind of money. You see, you're such a person, right? And you're not just saying it. In the future, you're really like what you said. Toru Watanabe said. Aona Koizumi lowered her head and looked at her shoes. Watanabe. Yes. Where is this? Koizumi Aonai was silent for a long time before she asked this question. Maybe she didn't want to say that, but thank you? Or something else? A dream. Toru Watanabe said casually. I don't think it's a dream. Oh. It's very likely that it's a gap between time and space. Our souls are talking across time and space. Aona Koizumi speculated seriously. I see. Toru Watanabe nodded, then it makes sense. The truth wasn't that romantic. In order to protect basic human rights, the system didn't let Aona Koizumi's soul escape from reality and go to places it shouldn't go. That's all. As for why he appeared here, only the system knew. Koizumi-san. Call me teacher. Koizumi-sensei, what happened today, no matter whose fault it is, just let it go. People can't always think about the past, that way you'll never be happy. But I almost killed you. Isn't it fine? If you want to talk about regrets, then there's no need to. Even I have a lot of regrets that I wish I could start over. Even I? You make it sound like you're amazing. Aona Koizumi said unhappily. I'm not amazing, so I want to be amazing. No, I think you're already amazing. Thank you. Toru Watanabe said with a smile. Aona Koizumi was embarrassed. She scratched the back of her neck and changed the topic. All right, this is your first time seeing me, right? What do you think? Stand up and let me see. Okay. Aona Koizumi jumped up and ran down the steps to stand on the path of the shrine. She turned around and looked expectantly at Toru Watanabe, who was sitting on the steps. With the help of the fireflies and the bright moonlight, Toru Watanabe looked at the 16-year-old Aona Koizumi in front of him. She wore a custom-made shirt with sleeves rolled up to her arms and a knee-length skirt. Her beautiful eyes showed that she wasn't afraid of anything. Noticing Toru Watanabe's gaze, Aona Koizumi shyly rolled down her sleeves. "Very cute," Toru Watanabe said. "Hee." Aona Koizumi smiled proudly and shyly. "It's just like a New Year bonfire at a shrine." A New Year bonfire at a shrine. Aona Koizumi was puzzled. In cold weather, a huge bonfire made from a pile of wood. You throw some firewood on it and the sparks will scatter like rain. You're just that cute. I don't understand. She shook her head and then laughed. Toru Watanabe also laughed. Across the steps of the shrine, Aona Koizumi stared at Toru Watanabe. What's the difference between my soul and my body? Toru Watanabe stood up and let her look at him. A little. Not handsome enough. No, it's just that I feel that your soul is very gentle. Gentle? Yes, it's a soul that doesn't blame others, forgives everything, and is full of gentleness. Koizumi Aonai affirmed. I don't forgive everything. Toru Watanabe laughed. It's just that compared to finding fault with others, I prefer to find fault with myself first. And then, how should I say it, I don't like to impose things on others. Don't like to impose things on others? What do you mean? For example, I don't like you being willful, but I won't make you stop being willful and make me like you. I'm willful. Yes. I just speak a little louder. I really can't hate Koizumi Sensei's adaptability. Toru Watanabe said with a smile. Aona Koizumi laughed. Toru Watanabe walked up the steps and came to her side. Go back. If you don't wake up, your parents will be worried. He said. Yes. Aona Koizumi nodded. She took a few steps into the throng of fireflies, which seemed to have been waiting for her. Then she turned back. Toru Watanabe slightly raised his arm. Aona Koizumi also gently waved her hand. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Chapter 255. Chiyoda. Kamibocho. Kujo's mother walked back to the living room from the garden and handed the scissors to the servant. Mother. Miki Kujo came downstairs neatly dressed. It's rare to see you up so early, Kujo's mother said with a smile. Miki Kujo walked down the stairs and sat at the dining table. The servant brought breakfast. I heard that something unpleasant happened yesterday? Kujo's mother sat next to her daughter and rested her chin on her hands. Her behavior, expression, and appearance were like that of a beautiful woman in her early 20s. It's nothing. Miki Kujo drank a mouthful of milk and quickly ate her breakfast. Nothing happened and you stayed in the hospital all day? I heard that Shizuru and the others were seriously injured? Who told you that? It's a secret. Miki Kujo put down her knife and fork, drank a mouthful of milk, and wiped her mouth. I'm done eating. She got up from her seat and walked outside. Kujo's mother looked at her daughter's back as she left. I underestimated you, Watanabe, she muttered to herself. When Miki Kujo rushed to the hospital, Toru Watanabe was already up. She saw him standing by the window with his hands in his pockets, overlooking the early morning Tokyo. His leisurely and relaxed demeanor and the steady posture of his feet on the ground indicated that his body had fully recovered. Miki. He turned around and smiled slowly. The morning light fell on his handsome face, and Miki Kujo couldn't help but stare at him in a daze for a moment. Are you feeling better? She walked over. Toru Watanabe naturally reached out and pulled his Miki into his arms. Her clothes were a little cold from outside. Miki, my Miki, can I kiss you? Toru Watanabe said. Miki Kujo wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him. The two kissed in front of the window as the sun rose. The buildings in Tokyo were illuminated by the morning light. One by one, the glass windows on the buildings reflected the dazzling light. They kissed until all the buildings were soaked in the morning light. Sister is so sweet. Toru Watanabe said with a reluctant smile. Brother is not bad either. Miki Kujo leaned into his arms, satisfied. After a while, Toru Watanabe gently pushed her away. Miki Kujo looked at him with her beautiful eyes and asked why. Why? She's here, Toru Watanabe explained. Miki Kujo's brows furrowed for a second, and then her face became full of contempt, indifference, and arrogance. When Watanabe the cat appeared on Miki Kujo's shoulder, Aona Koizumi passed through 10 years and came to this room full of sunshine and happiness. Good morning, Koizumi-sensei. Watanabe the cat took the initiative to greet her. Good morning. After greeting her, Aona Koizumi looked at Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo took Watanabe the cat off her shoulder and examined every part of the cat like a doctor doing a physical examination. Eyes, ears, teeth, tongue, claws. That. Aona Koizumi hesitated, and then suddenly bowed deeply. I'm sorry. Watanabe the cat turned his head to look at Aona Koizumi. Miki Kujo pressed the cat's head against her chest and carried him back to the sofa. Aona Koizumi raised her head and walked over. I'm sorry about yesterday, and about taking over Watanabe's body. She bowed again. How? Watanabe the cat was pressed back again. His soft cat paws stepped on an even softer chest, and he was barely able to breathe. Miki Kujo tidied up Watanabe the cat's fur, and ignored Aona Koizumi. Aona Koizumi maintained her bow and said, For the past day, I've been imagining my boyfriend being taken over by a woman. No matter how much I try to forgive, I can't control myself. I completely understand how you feel, Kujo-san, and I'm really sorry. Miki Kujo stroked Toru Watanabe, and answered coldly without raising her head. A month has passed, get out of here. Thank you. After doing all this, Aona Koizumi heaved a sigh of relief and raised her head, revealing a bright smile. You're actually willing to compromise. Rin Kiyono walked in. On Saturday, she wore a blue dress with a bit of a shirt style, and her soft waist was tied with a belt, making her look like she was in the spring. Kill Aona Koizumi, and let you take advantage of the situation? Miki Kujo sneered. She'll forget this month's worth of memories when she goes back. For Watanabe's sake, I'll force myself to suffer this once. Miki. Watanabe the cat's glassy eyes looked at her from Miki Kujo's arms. If there's a next time, you'll die. Miki Kujo rubbed the cat's head. I'm really sorry. Aona Koizumi bowed again. Miki Kujo looked at her and didn't say anything. Rin Kiyono rested her chin on her hand and looked at Miki Kujo. She didn't have any obvious reaction to the fact that Aona Koizumi had taken over Toru Watanabe's body, simply because Toru Watanabe wasn't her boyfriend. If they exchanged places, would she be able to do what Miki Kujo did? Hypotheses were always hypotheses, and without facing it, there was no way to know what she would do. But one thing was for sure, after this incident, Toru Watanabe stayed by Miki Kujo's side not only because of his responsibility. She's harder to deal with than I thought, Miki. For a moment, Rin Kiyono actually missed the two of them when they were children. The little girl who loved to cry became the cruel and merciless Princess Kujo, and now, what kind of Miki Kujo was? It was so complicated that she couldn't see it clearly. From an absolute victory, it became very difficult to deal with. But that was it. Victory would be hers sooner or later, and no one could resist her charm. Rin Kiyono retracted her gaze and looked at Aona Koizumi. She could see through lies, whether an apology was sincere or not, she could see through it with a single glance. You've grown a lot, Koizumi-san. Rin Kiyono said. No. Aona Koizumi said shyly, I just understood something. What did you understand? Watanabe the cat finally came out of the deep valley. Aona Koizumi looked at the two people and the cat in front of her and recalled everything that happened last night, as well as her thoughts during the day. Before today, I've been thinking about this matter from my own point of view. In the future, whose body I take over, if it's not up to me, then why should I be responsible? She paused for a moment, then continued, "But now, I want to consider Kujo-san's point of view. No matter what the other party's reason is, my boyfriend's body being taken over by a woman, this is something that can't be easily forgotten." Rin Kiyono said in a low voice, "Thinking from your own point of view will evolve into thinking from someone else's point of view, you will lose yourself, but..." She raised her head and said in a rare soft voice, "You've become gentle, Koizumi-san." "Yes." Aona Koizumi raised a bright and happy smile. That smile was something that Toru Watanabe could not bring himself to smile. Perhaps it was not as charming as Toru Watanabe, but there was something about it that moved people's hearts. Aona Koizumi said to Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo with such a smile, "Because, yesterday, I met the most gentle person in the world." The two young ladies and two beautiful girls looked at Aona Koizumi for a moment. What exactly did she experience to make the girl who cried and left in despair yesterday change like this? In the next second, the two smart girls understood. Miki Kujo choked Watanabe the cat's neck. "You're still hiding something from me," she said coldly. "I didn't." "Watanabe-san," Aona Koizumi said in a gentle and mischievous voice. "You can't lie." Watanabe the cat turned around and looked at Aona Koizumi. "Traitor." The cat's eyes sent this word. "I'm also very interested, Toru Watanabe-san." Rin Kiyono's words carried the coldness from the depths of the North Pole. "I'll be honest." In front of them, the amazing Watanabe the cat could only surrender. In the following time, he told them what happened in his dream yesterday. After listening, Rin Kiyono rubbed her forehead and sighed helplessly. Power, wealth, extraordinary intelligence, outstanding appearance, strong physique, all of these will make people arrogant, and develop an arrogant and arbitrary personality. Watanabe-san, you have all of these, but you did such a thing. You are indeed the most gentle person in the world. Saying this, her face suddenly became cold. "But, can you please not be gentle to everyone? This will only make people feel disgusted. Can you please not be gentle to everyone?" Miki Kujo grabbed the cat's tail and looked at Watanabe the cat at eye level. "Do you understand what I mean, my Watanabe, my Che?" "So scary. Super scary." Toru Watanabe, whose head was down and tail was up, was so scared that his face became stiff. Toru Watanabe was discharged from the hospital that day. To be precise, it was Aona Koizumi who walked out. Miki Kujo had already decided not to care about this matter, and seeing Aona Koizumi annoyed her, so she let her go freely. Rin Kiyono was very interested in Watanabe the cat, but unfortunately, she couldn't stay too far away from the main body. She also had no interest in playing with Aona Koizumi, so she went home by herself. Aona Koizumi took the almost dead Watanabe the cat back to the Shinonko apartment. As expected, as long as you are gentle, even Kujo-san will let go of her anger. When they got into the elevator, Aona Koizumi said to Watanabe the cat. Watanabe the cat didn't say anything. There were surveillance cameras in the elevator. "I used to think that being gentle to everyone was the most useless thing, until yesterday, I realized that it wasn't true gentleness. Gentle, like Watanabe, you are the one who is truly gentle. You don't impose your will on others. When dealing with things, you first reflect on yourself, then consider other people's position. I'm not that gentle." After they got out of the elevator, Watanabe the cat said, "I just don't impose on others. I like to reflect on myself. Other people's position is not within my scope of consideration. Then I want to be a gentler person than you. You will suffer if you are too gentle, Koizumi-sensei. I'm just gentle, I'm not stupid, don't worry. Can I give you a suggestion?" Go ahead. "I've endured for a long time. Can you not use my body to talk like that?" "Okay, don't. I just have a question to ask her. My heart is itching to go crazy." "I remember, I won't do it again. Please don't worry." What happened to being gentle and considering other people's position? Ha ha ha, Watanabe, you're an exception. You're almost done. Walking to room 502, Aona Koizumi was taking out the key card to open the door when the door next door opened. It was almost 10 o'clock in the morning. Still wearing pajamas, Aona Koizumi, with red and swollen eyes, looked at the person and the cat in front of her. Before Watanabe the cat could react, Aona Koizumi had already hugged Aona Koizumi. Like a sister, like a mother, she hugged her past self in her arms and said with a crying voice, "Shaunai." Aona Koizumi reached out and hugged her future self, comforting, Okay, I'm fine, it's all over. Before going to bed at night, my mother even praised me for growing up today. Shaunai. Aona Koizumi was still sobbing. Don't cry, if it goes on like this, I don't want to live anymore. 25 years old today, I'm still crying like this, so shy that I want to die. The two comforted each other. Watanabe the cat looked at Koizumi, Shaunai, and sat there comfortably. Although he was miserably scolded by Rin Kiyono and forced to write a letter of regret by Miki Kujo, as long as he can see this scene in front of him, even if he is scolded for a lifetime, it doesn't matter if he writes a letter of regret every day. A letter of regret. Even if he doesn't do anything, it seems that he has to write for a lifetime. Two people and a cat walked into room 502. Watanabe, I'm sorry, in fact, I dream of the past every day, because I'm shy, I don't have the courage to admit it, which led to yesterday's incident. Aona Koizumi confessed everything. Warm tears once again flowed from her beautiful eyes. Teacher, I said yesterday, don't regret the past, it will never be happy. What we should do now is to take little Koizumi teacher together, seize the last 3 weeks, and play around. Yes, the three of us should go play together. Aona Koizumi said happily, I want to go to Sensoji Temple to draw lots, go to Ueno Zoo to see pandas, and also go to Tsukiji Market to eat all kinds of delicious food. Aona Koizumi was affected by her emotions, and smiled with tears. Yes, she said. Hurry up, let's go now. Aona Koizumi held Aona Koizumi's hand. Wait a minute. Aona Koizumi held her hand. I'll go change. Dress prettily, I want to admire myself. Aona Koizumi's face suddenly turned red, the touch of her hand also became strange and ambiguous. This is Watanabe's hand, and soon she will go play with Watanabe's body. Similar thoughts couldn't help but flow into her mind. Then I'll go back first. I'll see you downstairs in 20 minutes. She ran away. Aona Koizumi returned to room 501, and bumped into Huang Zi, who just got up. Her originally beating heart almost jumped out like a rabbit. She covered her throat, as if there was really a rabbit there. Throat uncomfortable? Your face is so red, did you catch a cold? Huang Zi asked doubtfully. I choked on something. Aona Koizumi said with a dry throat. Oh, that's good. Huang Zi drank a mouthful of water. Aonai, where are we going to play later? I'm sorry, I have something to do this week. What's the matter? The three of them lived together, worked in the same school, and had almost no privacy. Yes. Aona Koizumi reluctantly nodded. Last time when she asked for money, there was already a misunderstanding. If Huang Zi and Miyuki saw her with her past self, it would be even more difficult to explain. Without waiting for Huang Zi to continue asking, she returned to her room. About 15 minutes later, Huang Zi, who was watching TV in the living room, saw Aona Koizumi, who was wearing a beautiful dress, and went out without saying goodbye. Why are you so sneaky? She stuffed a potato chip into her mouth. Sneaky. Without even wearing shoes, she ran to the balcony, leaned out, and looked at the door of the apartment. After a while, Aona Koizumi appeared there. Then, Toru Watanabe appeared with a cat. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, the two of them chatted and laughed as they walked towards the train station. On the way, Huang Zi even saw Aona Koizumi give some money to Toru Watanabe. It's over, it's over, it's over. She rushed into Miyuki's room barefoot without knocking on the door. Miyuki, bad news. Miyuki groaned as if she hadn't woken up. What's wrong? Huang Zi shook her body with all her might. Aonai and Watanabe, that brat, went out on a date. I even saw her give him money. Miyuki felt uncomfortable being shaken, and could only prop up her upper body. "It's just a date, let her go," she said lazily. "A date? He even treats Aonai like a wallet." Yes, but that's Aonai's own decision. She's 25 years old and has never been in a relationship before, so it's time for her to experience it." Huang Zi chased after her. "But that brat has already. No results? The ending is obvious too? It's fine as long as it starts to be sweet. Whether or not he's a playboy, Watanabe is outstanding enough, and he's in good health. Aonai will live a happy life for a while. He already has a girlfriend, and Aonai is still a teacher. It's spring, what's wrong with being a little willful once in a while? No matter what, with the two of us accompanying her, even if she's cheated of all her money, there's still us, right?" "That's true. What's going on? After hearing what you said, I suddenly want to be in a relationship too." What's with your attitude? Right, how do you know he's in good health? I checked his body the day he fainted, didn't I?" Huangzi lowered his voice guiltily. "How big? It has nothing to do with you, right?" Miyuki didn't want to reveal her patient's privacy. "Why should I? You know, and Aonai will know soon, but I don't know. It's not fair. What does this have to do with fairness? Get out, don't disturb my sleep." Miyuki lay down again. "You should change your habit of sleeping without clothes. Maybe Aonai will bring that brat back to spend the night. Isn't it enough for them next door?" "That's hard to say. What if that brat is afraid of being discovered by his girlfriend and chooses our place?" Miyuki had already fallen asleep. Chapter 256. May 2nd, Wednesday, heavy rain. Aona Koizumi walked into the school building with an umbrella. When she was closing the umbrella, the rainwater on the umbrella of a boy beside her accidentally wet the sleeve of her school uniform. "Sorry," the boy said. "It's nothing." Aona Koizumi smiled and waved her hand, then walked towards the shoe cabinet. The shoe cabinet was full of love letters, more than when Toru Watanabe was controlling this body. She remembered the conversation she had with Toru Watanabe in the third week of April, when the number of love letters increased significantly. "Just give me your body, I'll definitely live better than you. Don't be too gentle with others, don't cause me trouble. Watanabe classmate, how can you talk to your teacher like that?" "Yes, little Koizumi, sensei." After changing her shoes, she didn't go to the classroom. Today, she went to bed early. Toru Watanabe was once again taken over by her during his morning exercise, so she had to help deliver the roses to the activity classroom. The first time she took over Toru Watanabe's body was the day after that incident. It was a Sunday morning, and she couldn't wait to go to Tokyo Disneyland. At that time, the willow and ginkgo trees beside the moat had delicate new leaves. This morning, the leaves of the willow and ginkgo trees had turned into a rich dark green. The time had also changed from April to May. Compared to Toru Watanabe's favorite corridor on the 5th floor where she could look at the sky, Aona Koizumi preferred the corridor on the 1st floor. From here, she could see the plants and flowers in the atrium. Today, it was raining heavily, and the wind was blowing. The magnolia flowers fell to the ground, but the azaleas were very strong, and their red petals were even more vibrant. Koizumi Aonai took out a rose from her bag. "Every day, I buy the most beautiful roses from Daetion Flower Market, and give them to you as a morning gift." When did he find out about this? There was no need to remember such an uncomfortable thing. Toru Watanabe's brain, don't remember it, I don't want to hear it. April 13th. She still remembered it easily. She had already experienced Toru Watanabe's intelligence. Whether it was the body or the brain, it was completely different from her body. After putting down the roses and returning to the school building, Seiji ran into Masanori Horikita, who was practicing in the music department. "Senior, I'll be counting on you this afternoon." The petite girl saluted like a soldier. "Sure." Aona Koizumi readily agreed. "Are you also doing morning exercises today?" Yes, I hope that I can reach the level that senior is satisfied with soon. Hori-san is working very hard, and I believe that you will achieve it soon. Senior Watanabe. Masanori Horikita ran in front of Aona Koizumi. It's almost time for you to tell me how far away I am, right? Masanori Horikita's words reminded Aona Koizumi of guiding the woodworking group. She knew absolutely nothing about playing music. Everyone in the wind department was skilled enough to be her master. In order to deal with this situation, Toru Watanabe taught her the tricks of teaching. When he commented, he did not care whether the other party boasted about him or not. Please repeat the practice. Please play it again. Did you find the problem? No. It's really difficult. Well, do you want to play it again? She met people who asked her questions. Not here, let's find a solution together. It seems that everyone is not working hard enough. Today go back and think about it. At night, Toru Watanabe would turn into a cat and tell her all the mistakes of these people, such as playing and fingering. In this way, relying on the teaching method of fooling people, those highly skilled members of the wind department admired her and wanted to follow her for a lifetime. Senior Masanori Horikita shouted. Sorry, what did you just say? Aona Koizumi asked. When will you tell me how far away I am from senior's passing line? Today at noon. Really? That's great. Masanori Horikita jumped away and looked at her delicate little face seriously. Every knight fights for their dreams, to protect the people they love, and I will fight to protect the glory of the wind department. After reciting the lines and gesturing the actions, the child was still humming a song, duo duo, duo duo. Finally. Transform. Even after 3 weeks, Aona Koizumi still couldn't understand the charm of a masked knight. Toru Watanabe enthusiastically recommended it to her. Except for 555, because the plot was like a love drama, she could only watch a little bit, but the others were completely unacceptable. Senior, see you at noon. Masanori Horikita skipped away. Halfway through, she saw the discipline committee member and obediently walked away. She walked into the classroom of second year class 4. Rin Kiyono was sitting in her seat reading a book, while Miki Kujo was sleeping on the table. Neither of them paid much attention to her. But in comparison, Rin Kiyono was a little better. For Toru Watanabe's sake, she would chat with her. Miki Kujo, on the other hand, treated her as a complete stranger. Her future self hadn't entered the classroom yet, so there was still some time before the morning class meeting. Some students gathered by the window and looked at the dark clouds covering the sky of Shinjuku. Large raindrops fell on the campus and hit the glass, making a pa-pa sound. It seems to have gotten heavier. I hope it can stop after school, or else I'll have to give up riding my bike and take the tram back. No way. You rode your bike here in the morning? It was the same conversation as usual, but she was the only one different. Aona Koizumi walked towards Toru Watanabe's seat. Good morning, Kiyono-san, Kujo-san. Miki Kujo had no intention of waking up. Rin Kiyono looked up from her book. You came early today. Today is the last day. Aona Koizumi explained. Rin Kiyono nodded. When Miki Kujo's voice suddenly sounded, Aona Koizumi turned around, but all she could see was her hair. Noon. After she said that, Miki Kujo's sleeping posture seemed to have become more comfortable. After a month, the three of them couldn't become friends. She was not welcome. After a while, her future self walked in. Everyone, please return to your seats. Regarding the mock exam at the end of April, please summarize the questions you made wrong. The mock exam was a tough few days. Aona Koizumi didn't sleep for several nights. She told Toru Watanabe that the teacher wouldn't allow cheating. As a result, she couldn't sleep during the day and was punished by the teacher to stand. Also, regarding the sports competition on Friday, the boys' team, Watanabe, Kuniai, the girls' team, Hiramura. The sports competition was on Friday. Looks like I've troubled Watanabe again. In the classroom, only Aona Koizumi's sweet and gentle voice could be heard. After the silence, the sound of the rain outside hit their eardrums even harder. The sound of the wind was also getting louder. Listening to the sound of the rain, Aona Koizumi remembered that last week, she, her future self, and Toru Watanabe went to Sapporo in Hokkaido. At the end of April, close to May, the cherry blossoms were just beginning to bloom. 2 people and a cat walked on the cherry blossom path. She asked Toru Watanabe, "Watanabe, at this time, how do you coax a girl?" "Little Koizumi, sensei, aren't you a teacher?" At that time, she snorted, looked around, and pulled her future self under a cherry blossom tree. "Aonai, I'll give you a cherry blossom rain," she said with a super cool voice. Then, she kicked the cherry blossom tree. With a crack, the tree broke. In the end, a patrolling police officer came over and suspected that she was violent towards women. On their way to the White Lover's chocolate factory, Toru Watanabe desperately laughed at her. Even her future self also laughed at her with that guy. Too embarrassing. After the morning class ended, Koizumi Aonai quietly stared at the heavy rain outside the window during the morning classes. The chemistry teacher was twitching his back again. If someone answered incorrectly, he would make that person stand and call for the next student. These things had nothing to do with her. This chemistry teacher was different from the ancient literature teacher. He wasn't interested in the excellent students and only stared at the poor students. Of course, the poor students here were much better than Aona Koizumi herself. While she was distracted, she recalled everything that had happened in the past month. Confusion, novelty, throbbing, unwillingness, sadness, regret, and happiness. Toru Watanabe's apartment was on the 10th floor. There was a road downstairs and it was only 5 minutes away from Shinano. On the weekends, it was crowded with young people. It was almost impossible to walk. But in the middle of the night, it was dead silent. Not even a shadow could be seen. There were only neatly arranged streetlights and the occasional car passing by. In the middle of the night, she and Toru Watanabe, who had turned into a cat, watched Kamen Rider, watched all kinds of sci-fi movies that hadn't been released for 10 years, and watched From Iwate Prefecture to Tokyo, 400 kilometers. The Iwate Prefecture boy in the movie turned her into a fangirl. In the last scene, under the mottled shadows of the trees, the boy's closed eyes was deeply engraved in her memory. Also, in the opening scene, Toru Watanabe brushed his hair back with one hand and put on a hat. It was also irredeemably handsome. If Toru Watanabe was her boyfriend, she would definitely make him do it for her every day. After the morning class ended, it was finally noon. She didn't have the chance to listen to the boys' idle chat. Osamu Kanai still hadn't given up on persuading him to join the baseball club. Keisuke Saito visited the game company during the Golden Week. It seemed that he wanted to try making a game. The bespectacled guy was still talking about something she didn't understand. In the corridor not far from the teacher's office, she met up with her future self. She heard that this was where she came from, so she wanted to go back here. "That matter, I'll leave it to you," Aona Koizumi said. "Okay." Aona Koizumi looked at her future self and couldn't help but tear up. "Don't cry, everyone thinks that Watanabe is bullying you," Aona Koizumi said with a smile. Aona Koizumi's blurry vision couldn't see her smile clearly. "Ah, it's almost over, a month has passed so quickly." Aona Koizumi looked out of the corridor window. That period of time that was like a dream was about to come to an end. She would forget everything that happened in the past month. The rain had already become lighter and would soon stop. She didn't know if she could hold on until the rain stopped. She wanted to see the sun. That's right. She suddenly remembered something. Watanabe, that guy, wrote in his notes a female voice actor. You have to criticize him. I'll properly criticize him. Aona Koizumi pursed her lips as tears welled up in her eyes. I've troubled you during this period of time, I've spent a lot of your money, and I've caused you to be misunderstood by Aozi and Miyuki. Aona Koizumi could only shake her head. She was afraid that if she opened her mouth, her tears would fall. What a pity. Aona Koizumi revealed a bitter smile. To you, everything that I've done seems like a dream, not a real experience. The two of us are the same person, but also don't seem to be the same person. Aona Koizumi didn't say anything and only looked at her past self. I like Toru Watanabe. Aona Koizumi suddenly said. I know. Aona Koizumi reluctantly opened her mouth. It's fine if you like him to the point of being his lover. Aona Koizumi continued. I know. Aona Koizumi's eyes began to hurt, and her nose began to sting. Sadness overflowed from her, making it difficult for her to breathe. She felt a burning sensation in her throat, and her vision became even more blurry. Finally, do you have anything you'd like to say? Watanabe the cat appeared. Of course I do. Aona Koizumi revealed a brilliant smile. She suddenly opened the window that was filled with water droplets, faced the sky that was about to clear up, and shouted towards the courtyard, In my next life, please let me become a handsome man in Tokyo. She breathed heavily. The school building was filled with noise. Everyone in the hallways, classrooms, and aisles were talking to each other. Aona Koizumi was finally able to speak. Be careful on the road, she said. Okay, I'm leaving. Aona Koizumi continued to smile brilliantly until the end. Watanabe the cat slowly disappeared. The brilliant smile on Toru Watanabe's face slowly faded away. Through the thick clouds, the sunlight shone straight down. After the rain, the Shinjuku district looked brand new. Toru Watanabe turned his head to look at Aona Koizumi. Aona Koizumi burst into tears. The past, the dreams that were separated by a layer, at this moment, finally became her own experience. After 10 long years, the boy named Watanabe, who briefly appeared for a month when she was young, once again appeared in her life. I'm back. Aona Koizumi, whose face was covered in tears, smiled brilliantly. Toru Watanabe froze for a moment, then responded with a smile, Welcome back. Behind the school building, there was a corridor that was covered in wisteria. It had just rained, so the corridor was covered in a layer of water. When walking, the soles of the shoes would cause small ripples on the puddles. Here, Aona Koizumi gave a letter to Toru Watanabe. Little Koizumi left it for him. In order to not let Toru Watanabe know the contents of the letter in advance, little Koizumi wrote it in his mind and asked his future self to write it. Watanabe, life in Tokyo is really good. Before leaving, I already miss everything in Tokyo. There were so many delicious foods and fun things to play with that he couldn't even count them. Oh right, there are always airplane clouds in the sky. Whenever there are airplane clouds in the sky, you, a cat, will always look at the sky. At this time, I will secretly look at you from the side. Haha, if we are face to face, looking at each other, I definitely won't be able to say such mushy words. But, like now, I won't go to you anymore. By writing this letter, I have enough courage to convey my words and my true feelings to you. Tomorrow, I will embark on a journey of time, in order to meet you again after 10 years. I won't miss you, I will use all my longing for you to take action. Work hard, I have to work hard. Tokyo, I must go to Tokyo. Then, in February before spring comes, I will appear in a classroom on the 2nd floor of Kamigawa's teaching building. I will ask you, Watanabe-san, please tell me the reason for your choice. You will answer me, with good grades, of course, you should go to the best school and be with the best group of people. This way, we will meet again. Today's sky is covered with sunset clouds. Will it rain tomorrow? Let's stop here, goodbye. It should have ended, but I couldn't help but ask. The Watanabe I will always like, shall we meet again? If we meet again, can you give me a hug? If you can, that would be great. Aona Koizumi from 10 years ago. Toru Watanabe hugged Aona Koizumi. Goodbye, even hug together, little Koizumi, sensei. May 2nd, Wednesday, heavy rain. This was the last memory of the girl who rolled up the sleeves of her school uniform, little Koizumi, sensei. Toru Watanabe. Chapter 257. The rain had stopped. Pricking up his ears to listen carefully, he could hear the sound of the raindrops on the leaves dripping to the ground. After a while, they would evaporate and rise again. Coming from the sky, going back to the sky. Everything was just like that. But when all the futile pessimism passed and he thought about it seriously, he would find that everything he had experienced was not meaningless. Nourishing all things, regulating the climate, bringing inspiration to poets, wetting someone's clothes. Toru Watanabe walked on the way to the playing department. Outside the window of the corridor, the sun above Shinjuku formed a beam of light, as if someone was shining down with a flashlight. The water droplets on the azaleas, the water in the atrium, the swimming pool that was about to usher in summer, everything was shining. He put away the letter and prepared to go to the music classroom to tell Horikita Masanori when she would reach the passing line. You have 2 new emails. Aona Koizumi's strategy complete. Player receives 20,000 points. 10 years. Special reward 100,000 points. Temporary event ended, beginning settlement. Aona Koizumi's comments: rich, handsome, smart, playboy, mysterious, gentle. Rich, 1 billion yuan. Handsome, playboy, mysterious, gentle, 30% discount voucher *1. Smart, 10% discount voucher *1. Stepping into the music classroom, everyone looked at Toru Watanabe with strange eyes. Please let me be a handsome man in Tokyo in the next life. This sentence was heard by everyone. Rin Kiyono stood behind the podium, looking at the music score in her hand, feeling the atmosphere in the classroom, and looked at Toru Watanabe, who came in. Glancing at him, she turned to everyone and said, "Tomorrow, the selection for Group A and Solo will start. The personnel will be decided by me and Watanabe-san." Yes. Everyone who was restless just now responded in unison. Not to mention the 3rd and 2nd years, the new first years were already used to Rin Kiyono's orders. While Rin Kiyono was talking, Toru Watanabe came to her side. "Watanabe, classmate." She turned to look at him. "Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule." He was mocking Toru Watanabe and Aona Koizumi for taking turns using their bodies, traveling together, and so on. "Classmate Kiyono, please, how can I refuse?" He answered readily. Toru Watanabe meant that no matter what happened, he would always be there. "Also, I know I was wrong. Don't do it again." The two of them didn't need too many words to understand each other. The scene of a handsome man and a beautiful woman standing together was like a scene in a movie. The first year's gazes moved back and forth between the two of them. They were probably going to be like Aoi Ichiki and misunderstand that there was something between the two of them. During the free practice, Toru Watanabe himself spoke to the woodwind team for the first time. "Senpai, Watanabe, senpai." The petite Masanori Horikita held a long black oboe in her hands. Did something happen recently?" Her big eyes were filled with curiosity. "No. Absolutely." Masanori Horikita didn't listen to him. "You and Kiyono, senpai today look like a couple." "Couple?" "Yes." She nodded cutely. It wasn't before the Golden Week holidays, but it suddenly happened today. So, something must have happened. "No. Senpai Watanabe, senpai, you're still 10 years away from my passing line." 10 years. Masanori Horikita was so scared that she forgot to act coquettishly. Then, she gritted her white teeth. 10 years, I will work hard. 10 years begins with your feet. Start practicing. Yes. In the midst of Masanori Horikita's melodious oboe, Toru Watanabe looked out the window in the direction of the teacher's office. "Koizumi, senpai, what will you do next?" "I'm ready." The preparation bell rang, and the lunch break was almost over. Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono returned to the classroom. A few steps away from Class 4's classroom, they heard Osamu Kanai shouting, "In the next life, please let me be a handsome guy in Tokyo." Then came Keisuke Saito's voice. "You're wrong. You have to be more sad. In the next life, please let me be." "What are you doing?" Toru Watanabe looked at them. The two were startled and hurriedly said, "Nothing, nothing. Acting in a play, right?" "Yes, yes, yes. Preparing for the cultural festival." "The cultural festival is in September. You're starting to prepare now?" Osamu Kanai hid behind Keisuke Saito and laughed loudly. "Watanabe, so you envy Tokyo so much and look down on your hometown? We always thought that you didn't care about your background." "I see." Toru Watanabe nodded. "So that's what you're talking about." He cracked his knuckles and slowly walked towards the two. "It's time for class." Rin Kiyono walked past him. "I'll take care of you after class." Toru Watanabe glanced at the two. The two sat down in their seats. Miki Kujo saw the scene just now. Even though it was nothing and Rin Kiyono was just reminding them that class was about to begin, she was still angry when she saw Toru Watanabe's face. Under the table, Miki Kujo kicked him. The physics teacher had already walked in. Toru Watanabe looked ahead and hooked Miki Kujo's leg with his leg to prevent her from going back. 2 seconds later, Miki Kujo poked his back with a pen. 4 seconds later, Rin Kiyono coughed softly as if her throat was uncomfortable. Toru Watanabe found a new notebook. "Don't draw on my back, Miki, my Miki." "Watanabe," she quietly sent the text back. "My Toru, do you have any objections?" Kujo: "No, not at all, Watanabe." "Love you, Kujo." "Coward, your name is a man, Kiyono. Why are you here?" "Also, Shakespeare's original line is weak. Your name is a woman." "You're welcome, T. Jealousy, your name is Kiyono, Kujo." "Listen carefully in class, Kiyono." After school, Toru Watanabe was on duty today, so the two beautiful girls went to the Human Observation Department first. After cleaning the blackboard and filling in the teaching diary, Keisuke Saito, who had been staying in the classroom all this time, came over. He sat in the seat in front of Toru Watanabe. In the classroom after school, the seat by the window, a scene from an anime. Keisuke Saito opened the class. "If that's the case, please leave and take the beautiful girl's place." While saying this, Toru Watanabe wrote, "Very interesting, but the experiment seems to be a bit dangerous," in the physics class evaluation column. Keisuke Saito crossed his arms and imitated the class leader's way of pushing up his glasses. In tonight's evening class meeting, the male student with glasses was the male class leader. "Watanabe, let's play the beautiful girl game together." "So it's time for me to leave. Goodbye, Anya Keisuke Rinai classmate." Toru Watanabe twirled his pen and looked out the window, thinking about Aona Koizumi's attitude in the class meeting. It was as if the hug at noon didn't happen, but it wasn't as usual either. She was deliberately avoiding this corner. "That's it, so let's play the beautiful girl game together." Keisuke Saito seemed to say something passionately. There was no need to ask. When the answer was no, whatever the other party said was meaningless. Toru Watanabe closed the teaching diary and said, "Let's go." As expected of Watanabe, "My best friend." The two of them went to the teacher's office. Keisuke Saito was waiting outside. "Teacher Koizumi, this is the teaching diary." Toru Watanabe put the teaching diary on Aona Koizumi's desk. "MHM." Aona Koizumi was typing in front of a pile of documents. Toru Watanabe looked at the succulent on the corner of the desk, and then looked at Aona Koizumi. "What's the matter, Watanabe classmate?" Aona Koizumi turned around and looked at Toru Watanabe in a businesslike manner. Toru Watanabe thought for a while, then nodded. "I see. I understand. Goodbye, teacher." "MHM." Aona Koizumi replied indifferently. After Toru Watanabe left the office, Aona Koizumi turned back to the laptop. Her snow-white fingers were on the keyboard, but she couldn't type a single word. What did he understand? Was he angry because she called him Watanabe classmate? That's right. He never said that he liked her. It was just her wishful thinking. That's good. He's a student, and I'm a teacher. The computer screen in front of her gradually blurred. Aona Koizumi raised her hand, ready to wipe the corners of her eyes and continue working. Teacher. She suddenly felt a warm breath beside her ear. I feel like eating hamburger tonight. Is that okay? Aona Koizumi's body trembled. Her face quickly heated up, and her heart pounded. Teacher. The voice was getting closer and closer. Teacher. They were about to kiss. No, no problem. Aona Koizumi answered sadly. That's great. Thank you, little Koizumi. Toru Watanabe left the office again. Aona Koizumi's eyes were watery. To hide her burning red cheeks, she held her face with both hands. Worried that she would be discovered, she suddenly thought of something and secretly looked around. Then, she met Huang Zi's eyes. It's over. It was a misunderstanding yesterday. Did it all become real today? Was she really going to date Watanabe and be his lover? No. At least, wait until after graduation. Huang Zi looked at Aona Koizumi. She couldn't stand that little girl who was immersed in her happy fantasies. She turned her face away and took a sip of water. Her expression was so strange that it was as if the water was bitter. Toru Watanabe met up with Keisuke Saito, who was waiting for him. Together, they walked toward the club building. Along the way, they passed by classrooms. Occasionally, there would be students on duty. In class 3-1, there was a student who was talking to a teacher. Maybe it was because of the mock exam results in April. Our goal is to sell 50 copies at the cultural festival. Then, we can enter the comic convention and become famous in the industry. We'll receive invitations from companies in the industry, and then, Keisuke Saito talked about his grand plan. Aona Koizumi, please go find your side character. Don't talk to me about this. Toru Watanabe refused. Real game developers don't need side characters. Women will only be obstacles to their work. Holding hands and walking on the road, riding the Ferris wheel, riding the roller coaster, going into the haunted house, riding the merry-go-round. Using this time, the female characters in the game will be 3 times cuter. The Ferris wheel and merry-go-round are good. Try it with my Kei-san next time. Watanabe. Keisuke Saito almost cried out the male lead's name. I know. Toru Watanabe said helplessly. What do I need to do? Investment. Is 1 million enough? If you can, please do. The game's copyright is mine. If you lose money, according to the bank interest. Actually, I'm here to talk to you about the script. When they went to the club building, Toru Watanabe roughly knew Keisuke Saito's plan. He, Toru Watanabe, who had the highest score in Japan, would be in charge of the script. Then, he would ask him, Toru Watanabe, and the strongest player in the piano department to help with the music. Finally, he would continue to ask him, Toru Watanabe, and the handsome guy from Tokyo to ask Chen Chenzi from the art department to be in charge of the original art. Let's not talk about who Chen Chenzi from the art department is. I want to know, what are you doing? Toru Watanabe asked. Supervising, of course. Keisuke Saito said. That's all? Keisuke Saito thought for a second time and answered for the second time, and the software. What a coincidence. I know someone in the software department. I can ask him for help. Toru Watanabe said. Really? That's great. This way, I can relieve a lot of pressure. Alright, who is that person? I must invite him to join the computer research department. Keisuke Saito from the computer research department. If I ask him, there's no problem at all. Do you understand what I mean? Toru Watanabe said, I can make my own games. Keisuke Saito responded with an "oh" in a daze before howling, Watanabe, I beg you, let me be the supervisor. No one can surpass my love for Meijin games. Please give me a chance. Go ask someone for the music and the original art. Work hard for your own game. Don't tell me you're not as passionate as an Iluan. You have a point. Keisuke Saito said dejectedly, but he quickly pulled himself together. But with Watanabe's script and my love for Meijin games, we're already #1 in the country. Ha 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 ha. In the corridor on the 5th floor, Masanori Horikita was practicing her music seriously. When she saw Toru Watanabe, she imitated Kamen Rider Kami and gave him a thumbs up. Toru Watanabe also gave her a thumbs up. Senpai is different today, Masanori Horikita said. What's different? You wouldn't respond to me before. You would only gently tell me to practice hard. Practice hard, Toru Watanabe said. Senpai, Watanabe, senpai, Masanori Horikita pouted her lips out of dissatisfaction. Toru Watanabe ignored her and walked to the human observation department. Rin Kiyono was reading a book. Miki Kujo was browsing something on her tablet. In just one afternoon, everything returned to how it was a month ago. But some things had changed forever. Little Koizumi, sensei's 10 years. Toru Watanabe couldn't predict what was good or bad. The only thing he could do was to try his best to make the people who loved him happy. In order to help Keisuke Saito, Seiji didn't study or read any books. Instead, he wrote a random script. I've written a script. Can you help me review it? He said to the two beautiful girls. No one answered, which meant they agreed. Toru Watanabe read, "Where is this?" I looked around suspiciously and saw a beautiful girl with 2 golden ponytails in front of me. Above her head, the words "flat chest" and "tsundere" floated. Words. What is this? Isn't this plagiarism? Miki Kujo interrupted him. Plagiarism? How is this plagiarism? Toru Watanabe asked. Golden ponytails, flat chest, tsundere, the iriri you like. Miki Kujo sneered. As for her boyfriend's hobbies, she more or less understood it from his requests in bed. Ever since she had sex with Aizu Geisha, this guy always wanted her to tie her ponytails. After checking Toru Watanabe's phone, she roughly understood the source of his request. What iriri? Toru Watanabe disagreed. This is Akiyu Eili, Sanchien Nunnery. The story is completely different. Just because the characters are similar, even if it's plagiarism, I'll have to trouble them to file a lawsuit and then come find me. Then let's listen to the story first. Miki Kujo let him continue reading. Words. What is going on? This time, the story was about a beautiful girl with long black hair. Above her head, there were long straight black hair, poisonous tongue, and flat chest. Wait. Another beautiful girl interrupted him again. I'm not talking about Under the Snow, I'm talking about Sanhua Rimi, Miss Kiyono. Who cares about that? Why are they all flat chest? The market is flooded with huge breasts, so I thought. Are you mocking me? Absolutely not. Chapter 258. The script wasn't that easy to write. Toru Watanabe's self-righteous heart calmed down a little. He was only #1 in the country, not a great scriptwriter. As for the two ladies being too demanding, it was because he didn't write it well enough. Huang Zi and Miyazaki Miyuki returned home. Aona Koizumi, who had left early today, was already preparing dinner in the kitchen. And the shop I used to go to after school, and the dessert shop I used to visit, and the endless nagging, and the morning of being scolded accompanied by the soft sound of the fire on the stove, there was a gentle humming sound. It smells so good. Miyazaki Miyuki sniffed. Aonai, what are we eating today? Huangzi rushed into the kitchen. Aona Koizumi was smashing the meat with both hands, removing the air inside and adjusting the shape of the meat at the same time. She didn't need to answer. Huangzi understood immediately. Hamburger steak? That's great. I love you so much, Aonai. She hugged Aona Koizumi and rubbed her face on Aona Koizumi's shoulder. I don't want to give you to Watanabe. Without Watanabe, Aonai wouldn't know how to make hamburger steak. Miyazaki Miyuki leaned against the kitchen door and looked at the two of them leisurely. It's not like that. Aona Koizumi hid her shyness. If you want to eat, I'll make it for you too. Although I want to believe you, the past few years of takeout life reminded me of reality. Huang Zi stood up straight and left Aona Koizumi. She washed her hands in the sink, then picked up a piece of meat and started smashing it. In order to not eat takeout, let me use Watanabe, Huang Zi said fiercely. Aona Koizumi didn't say anything and just focused on making the hamburger steak. Before today, even if she couldn't explain it clearly, she would still try her best to explain. But now, Yu Bai had been misunderstood. Also, she hadn't made hamburger steak for a long time. What if it didn't taste good? Why didn't he let her cook something she was good at? Seriously. Aonai? Qingnai? Ah. Huang Zi's sudden voice brought Aona Koizumi back to reality. What's wrong? What are you thinking about? Let me ask you, is this enough? Huang Zi held up the burger steak in his palm. Aona Koizumi quickly looked at the ball of meat in her hand. A little thinner, about 1.5 centimeters thick. Okay. Huang Zi continued to use both of his hands to hit her. Do you really want to date that guy? Aona Koizumi took one and picked up the other. Don't blame me for talking too much. That guy is dating Kiyono behind his girlfriend's back, you. Huang Zi. Miyazaki Miyuki interrupted Huang Zi. There's no such thing as an absolutely safe relationship in this world. Qingnai is only 25 years old. Even if she is wrong, she can start over. Huang Zi couldn't help but worry. But see for yourself. Miyazaki Miyuki pointed at Aona Koizumi. Isn't she happy now? Huang Zi's gaze swept past Aona Koizumi's red face and the carefully prepared dinner on the table. Smack. She slapped the gradually forming meatball on the chopping board, and the thickness became 0.3 centimeters. If Watanabe dares to make Qingnai sad, I'll take him down with me. Aona Koizumi didn't say anything, but she was very touched. Miyuki's understanding and support, Huang Zi's worry. They were different, but they cared for her in the same way. She had also thought about her future with Toru Watanabe. They might not be able to get married openly, and even if they had a child, they wouldn't be able to live together. However, to be able to live together with a good friend for the rest of her life, have a child, and occasionally go on dates with Watanabe, such a future was also something she looked forward to. The burger steak was slapped and left in the fridge for 30 minutes. During this time, she made some side dishes. After the burger steak was fried and nicely placed on the table, the three of them waited at the dining table. That kid really said that he's coming over for dinner tonight? Huang Zi crossed her arms behind her head. Yeah. Aona Koizumi rolled up her left sleeve and looked at her watch. She knew without needing to ask. She had prepared dinner in advance and arranged the time so that Toru Watanabe would be able to eat freshly cooked food the moment he returned. Now that dinner was ready, Toru Watanabe was nowhere to be seen. So slow. Shouldn't school be over by now? Miyuki Miyazaki commented. Maybe something happened. Let's wait a little longer. Aona Koizumi chuckled. Could it be that he went to have a big meal with the ladies? Huang Zi's expression darkened. Watanabe said that he's coming for dinner, so he'll definitely come, Aona Koizumi said with certainty. Huang Zi snorted disapprovingly. You believe him, but his real girlfriend invited him to dinner. He can't possibly. Ding. The doorbell rang. Aona Koizumi immediately got up and walked over, fixing her bangs as she walked. Opening the door, she saw Toru Watanabe in his school uniform. Sorry, something happened, so I came back late. It smells good. I'm hungry. Then come in and eat. Aona Koizumi smiled gently as she helped him take his bag. She didn't ask what happened. Toru Watanabe changed his shoes and walked into the dining room. Huang Zi, who was sitting cross-legged on the chair, immediately said with a sour face, Wait for me. You made Sensei wait for you, Watanabe boy. You're good. Sensei, can you put your feet down when you eat? Toru Watanabe sat down beside Aona Koizumi. You're lecturing me. Alright, let's eat. I'm starving. Miyuki Miyazaki clasped her hands together and said to herself, I'm eating. Then, she started eating. Huang Zi glared at Toru Watanabe fiercely and took a bite of his burger as if he wanted to eat his meat. Toru Watanabe ignored him and took a bite. His eyes widened slightly as he said, It's delicious. He praised and took 2 more bites. Eat slowly, don't choke. Aona Koizumi happily watched the scene in front of her. She picked up her chopsticks and joined the 3 of them to eat today's burger. What should I do tomorrow? After eating, Toru Watanabe returned to room 502. Aona Koizumi hugged a pillow and sat on the sofa. At this moment, she felt as if she was sailing a ship to a brand new continent. The first thing that entered her eyes was the beach. There were tall coconut trees on the beach, beautiful sand, and crabs running around. What would she encounter tomorrow after playing here for a few days and heading inland? An endless grassland? A mountain peak that reached the clouds? A large waterfall filled with water vapor? This was a brand new world. As long as she took a small step forward, she would be able to see brand new sceneries and discover new pleasures. She already couldn't wait to explore. She imagined the first day, the second day, the third day she would spend with Toru Watanabe. What would happen when she got old? At the kitchen counter, Miyazaki Miyuki was in charge of washing the dishes, and Huang Zi was in charge of wiping the remaining water in the tableware. They listened to Aona Koizumi occasionally laugh that she didn't even notice and exchanged glances. That gentle, steady, and slightly lazy 25-year-old woman had now become an idiot because of love. May 3rd, Thursday, light rain. Before the morning class meeting, the teachers were chatting leisurely. Tomorrow was the annual ball game. The day after tomorrow was Saturday, and the day after that was Sunday. There were almost 3 days of holidays, so the teachers were happy and relaxed. That TV drama yesterday was so sweet. The super handsome male lead forced the tsundere female lead into a corner, took out his house key, and raised his eyebrows at her. The female lead blushed and went to take the key back. I want to be in love too. Don't talk about it, I didn't watch it yesterday. What's wrong? Huang Zi joined the young female teacher's conversation. It's all my mom's fault. She arranged another blind date for me this week. She said it's a doctor. A good doctor, why don't you give it a try? Huang Zi said. That person looks. If he's as handsome as in the TV drama, I'll accept it even if I don't have a job. Alright, Huang Zi, you, Aonai, and Miyuki, didn't they arrange a blind date for you? No, my family just said a few words. They didn't force it. Aren't the 3 of you free to choose your own conditions? Especially Aonai, she can find a Tokyo tycoon, or any company director. Me. Aona Koizumi, who had been listening without speaking, couldn't help but laugh and point at herself. That's right. Look at her cute face, big breasts, slim waist, and super gentle personality. Aonai, marry me. Go away, Aonai already. What's a female teacher like you doing? Huang Zi scolded jokingly. Already what? Pregnant? Boyfriend? How old is he? What's his occupation? How does he look? How much is his salary? He's much more handsome than the celebrities you like, Huang Zi boasted. Impossible. My celebrity is the most handsome. As handsome as that guy Watanabe, don't you think so? Huang Zi said maliciously. Huang Zi. Aona Koizumi blushed. So handsome. That female teacher opened her mouth wide. Did you kiss? Or did you already do it? The dignified female teachers in the classroom all had a side that the students didn't know about. No way. Aona Koizumi blushed even redder under everyone's gaze. Then how far are you? Tell us. We haven't confirmed our relationship yet. Aona Koizumi was so shy that her voice became very, very soft. This was the first time she admitted to having an ambiguous relationship with Toru Watanabe. "Can I see a photo?" "Yeah, I don't believe he's as handsome as that Watanabe." "Take it out and let's see." Not only the young female teachers, but the older teachers also gathered around curiously. "I have to work." Aona Koizumi opened her laptop. She didn't even open a document and just put her hands on the keyboard. Everyone was amused. At this moment, someone knocked on the office door. "Excuse me, is Ms. Koizumi here?" The heckling teachers looked over. At the door was a delivery man carrying a big box. "I'm here." Aona Koizumi took the opportunity to leave the encirclement. The delivery man walked in and put the box on the ground. "There are flowers for you." Flowers. The classroom that was about to disperse gathered again and stared at the box. The delivery man opened the box. A big bouquet of roses with a bright red color entered everyone's eyes. "Wow. So many roses. So romantic. And you said you're not dating. You even sent roses." The delivery man took out a list and said to Aona Koizumi, "Please hold hands. There are a total of 79 roses." Aona Koizumi didn't understand the situation. She was now Toru Watanabe's woman. She couldn't just accept roses. Huangzi whispered in her ear, "Could it be that Watanabe sent them?" "Don't be fooled. It's just a few roses. You can't give him children so easily." Aona Koizumi only heard, "Could it be that Watanabe sent them?" Thinking of this possibility, her heart thumped. However, it was only a possibility. Maybe it was a suitor. In the past 10 years, Aona Koizumi was quite popular. In high school, university, and Kamigawa, she was confessed to as many times as the roses in front of her. There's a letter. Take a look. Let Aonai see it for herself. Aona Koizumi took the envelope. She didn't open it immediately. Instead, she peeked inside. If it was from Toru Watanabe, it wouldn't be good if her colleagues saw it. She opened the envelope with her index finger and thumb. It was like guessing. The grand prize was Toru Watanabe, and the rest were all, "Thank you for participating." Who could it be? Aona Koizumi peeked inside. The others stretched their necks and blocked the crowd, but they also peeked inside. They were a group of teachers, but it felt like a child who had bought a new toy and the other children were waiting to play. There was no signature on the letter, only a line of words, "Aonai, I want to shower you with roses." Watanabe. It was from Watanabe. In the next moment, Aona Koizumi realized that it was from a student. A student sent roses to a teacher, and even sent them to the classroom. "At least send them to my house, idiot." She blushed and quickly signed the form. "Oh, you're blushing. Looks like it's from your lover. Ha ha ha. That's great. I want to receive roses too. I'm so shy." Aona Koizumi, who was holding the 79 roses, thought of the cherry blossom rain that broke the tree 10 years ago. At that time, she even helped Toru Watanabe to laugh at her. "Alright, Ms. Koizumi, there's one more thing I want to tell you." The delivery man carried the box again. What's the matter?" Aona Koizumi came back to her senses. Her beautiful oval face was even brighter under the contrast of the red roses. "The gentleman who sent the flowers signed an agreement with our store. As long as you're still working here, we'll send you a rose every day. So if you don't work here anymore, please tell us the new delivery address in advance." Okay. The teacher's office was in an uproar. "A rose every day? How much does that cost?" Compared to roses, the delivery should be more expensive, right? He's as handsome as Watanabe, rich, and doting. "Aonai, you're going to be a full-time housewife soon, aren't you?" Huangzi reluctantly admitted, "This brat, he barely passed." I want every single rose." Amidst everyone's envious voices, Aona Koizumi thought of something else. "Every day, I'll buy the prettiest rose from Daetion Flower Market and give it to you as a morning gift." This was Toru Watanabe's Valentine's Day gift. It was Valentine's Day on February 14th, and today was May 3rd, which was exactly 79 days. It was the same as the number of roses. Am I one of them? With the 3 female students? Aona Koizumi realized that her mood was very strange. She wasn't unwilling at all. Instead, she was shy and happy. She only knew that Toru Watanabe had a lover last year when they stayed together during the summer vacation. Was it because she had accepted the fact that Toru Watanabe had a lover for a long time? Had she actually gotten used to it? But, with the female students, being Toru Watanabe's lover. No, she fell in love with him when she was 16 years old. At that time, she was still calling Rin Kiyono Big Sister. Big Sister. Lover. Aona Koizumi didn't want to remember anymore. The more she thought about it, the more shy she became. She put down the rose and put away the letter. She brought the faint scent of roses with her to grade 12 class 4 to prepare for today's morning class meeting. When she walked into the classroom and subconsciously looked at Toru Watanabe, she remembered something. Last night, Watanabe, did you eat it because you went to the flower shop? She purposely didn't ask him. She subconsciously felt proud, thinking that she was gentle and forgiving enough to forgive him for going on a date with his girlfriend or lover. It turned out that she misunderstood him. Everyone. Because of her shyness and anticipation, her voice was a little hoarse. Aha. Softly clearing her throat, Aona Koizumi spoke again. Everyone, return to your seats. The morning class meeting will now begin. Yes, the students replied in long tones. Aona Koizumi looked at the lesson plan. The moment she raised her head, she subconsciously looked at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe was also looking at her. Ah, so embarrassing. She hurriedly looked at Group 1. Tomorrow is the basketball competition. Students participating in the competition, remember to bring your sportswear and sneakers. The rest of you, prepare to support. She looked at Toru Watanabe again and met his eyes again. She must talk to him after class. After the class meeting, Aona Koizumi called Toru Watanabe over. The two of them went to the corner at the end of the corridor. This was the place where the teachers punished the students who made mistakes in class. Watanabe, did you come back late last night because of the flowers? Aona Koizumi pretended to be calm and asked. Yes, you received it? Toru Watanabe said. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Aona Koizumi felt a little hot. Misunderstood? What misunderstood? Toru Watanabe took a step forward. Well, I thought you came back late because you went out to play with them. Teacher, I'm very sad. Toru Watanabe took another step forward. I apologize to you. I'm sorry. I don't accept your apology. I'll be very sad unless you give me a kiss, Toru Watanabe said. BB kiss. Aona Koizumi couldn't complete her sentence. No. Then a hug? Just a hug? No. Watanabe, you're still a student. First of all, you have to study hard. Also, I have to be a qualified teacher. Then what about the misunderstanding? I hate being misunderstood the most. Aona Koizumi's face turned red. She turned her face away, not daring to look at Toru Watanabe. She said softly, If it's a hug. Toru Watanabe opened his arms. Stop. Aona Koizumi used her English book to block the student's approaching chest. What's wrong? Toru Watanabe held back his laughter and asked curiously. At least, not in school. Chapter 259. The morning drizzle had stopped, and light shone through the window on the left. Toru Watanabe rested his chin on his left hand and listened to the class attentively. At some point, Miki Kujo poked him in the back, so he took out the notebook he used to chat in physics class. Watanabe, I'm bored, Kujo. One day, K said to T, I'm bored, tell me a joke. T said, I love you. K said, I have a person I like for a long time. T said, I'm telling a joke. K said, the person I like has N and E in his last name. T with the surname Watanabe said, it's a joke, but it's not a lie. K said, the person I like is Seino. Watanabe. Confession? I don't like girls, Kiyono. If you're blind, I can arrange a doctor for you, but I want you to see. T said, I love you. Kujo. I thought you would take the opportunity to confess to me. Kiyono. If you kneel down and lick my shoes, I'll give you a, I like you. This is something only Watanabe gets, thank me. Kujo. Oh, I'm sorry, even if you kneel down and lick my shoes, I still won't like you. Also, I'm not interested in Toru Watanabe classmates' personal hobbies, so you don't have to tell me. Kiyono. Do I have that kind of hobby? Watanabe. Can be trained. Kujo. If it's about stepping on Toru Watanabe, I'm a little interested. Kiyono. You two listen to the class carefully. Watanabe. Watanabe. The math teacher stopped writing on the blackboard and grabbed Toru Watanabe, who was passing his notes. Yes. If you have something to say it after class. Around the classroom, there was suppressed laughter. Yes. You can stand for this class. Yes. Miki Kujo was no longer bored, and Rin Kiyono was happy. The two of them enjoyed the warm spring day, leaving Toru Watanabe alone in the cold winter. After class, Toru Watanabe sat down and turned to look at the two beautiful girls. You two were the ones who were arguing in class. I was the one who reminded you to pay attention in class. Why am I being punished instead? He asked in a confused tone. The cause of the incident was Kujo-san, so you went to complain to her. Rin Kiyono took out a book as if it had nothing to do with him. Are you complaining to her, my Toru? Miki Kujo reached out and touched Toru Watanabe's neck intimately. I'm complaining to both of you, Toru Watanabe said, flirting. One likes you, and the other doesn't like you. Do you have any respect for me? Miki Kujo's hand wasn't cold, it was slightly lower than his body temperature. This small hand that was neither cold nor hot gently touched his neck. Toru Watanabe felt a fire burning in his heart. He took her hand down and squeezed it as if he was dissatisfied. Miki Kujo still let Toru Watanabe hold her hand. She maintained this position, tilting her snow-white neck flirtatiously, and looked at Rin Kiyono from the side. Watanabe-san. Vegetable juice. Rin Kiyono's gaze rested on the book in her hand. Vegetable juice? Toru Watanabe asked doubtfully. In order to help you prove that you didn't lie to Kujo-san, you promised to run errands and buy drinks for me. Yes, I did. Vegetable juice, now, go. Toru Watanabe looked at the emotionless Rin Kiyono for 2 seconds, then slowly turned his head and looked at Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo smiled, as if to say, go ahead and try it. It's all your fault for not believing me back then, Toru Watanabe complained. You made me, the male protagonist of a light novel, become the target of bullying in school. The way he took the initiative and acted as if it was a matter of course caused Miki Kujo to be slightly stunned. Pfft. Aoi Ichiki, who was pretending to do a question but was actually eavesdropping, laughed out loud. Miki Kujo glanced at the back of Aoi Ichiki's head, then turned her gaze to Toru Watanabe. I have to keep my word, Toru Watanabe said. Miki Kujo smiled and looked at him for a while, then said, go ahead and go. Don't make a fool of yourself in front of outsiders. Toru Watanabe stood up, but at this moment. Sit down, I don't want to drink anymore. Rin Kiyono flipped the book in her hand lightly. Even the people outside the window knew that Rosan was in high spirits and was in a good mood. Toru Watanabe didn't know whether to sit or stand. Ha ha oh. Aoi Ichiki tried her best to suppress her laughter. It's fine if he doesn't want to drink. Watanabe, sit down. Miki Kujo glanced at Rin Kiyono, seemingly dissatisfied that she was teasing her boyfriend. Then, she gently took Toru Watanabe's hand and placed it on her beautiful face, which no one dared to offend, and said, it's all because of me. You've always been a man of your word, but you agreed to such a condition. From now on, I'll believe everything you say. It's a lie, Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono kindly reminded him. I know that even if you don't say it. Kujo-san, who didn't study, liked to pass the time by communicating in class. Moreover, she always gave the notebook to Rin Kiyono after Toru Watanabe wrote some words of love. Once Rin Kiyono joined in, the two of them immediately began to use all kinds of vicious words to mock each other. As for Toru Watanabe, he didn't care about the fact that a good man doesn't fight with a woman. He was thinking, I'll save the notebook and take it out in front of them one day, such as on my 25th birthday, and read it aloud to them. What kind of expression would they have? There were more and more things to look forward to in the future. During lunch break, Toru Watanabe and Keisuke Saito returned from the cafeteria. Someone from the broadcasting department was looking for him. What's the matter? Toru Watanabe asked. There's a basketball competition tomorrow. I heard that Kuin Watanabe signed up for it as well? The girl from the broadcasting department asked. I guess you can say that. At noon, I'd like to invite you to the broadcasting department as a guest. They stood at the front door of the classroom. Two girls from the same class walked over while holding hands. Toru Watanabe moved to the window in the hallway to make room for them. The two girls walked into the classroom and chatted softly with their heads together. A guest? Toru Watanabe looked at the girl from the broadcasting department who appeared to be very capable. It's mainly to chat and answer some letters. It's up to Kuin Watanabe to decide what he wants to say and whether he's willing to answer. After a short pause, the girl from the broadcasting department added with emphasis, We're different from the news department that only wants attention. Letters? Kuin Watanabe is very popular, right? Apart from Kiyono classmate and Kujo classmate, you don't have any contact with other girls, so everyone is very curious about you. This was a chance to reject all the girls in the school and stop other relationships. I'll be there at noon tomorrow. Sorry to trouble the broadcasting department. Toru Watanabe said. Don't mention it. We should be the ones thanking Kuin Watanabe. After separating from the girl from the broadcasting department, Toru Watanabe walked into the classroom and the campus broadcast sounded. Good afternoon, everyone from Kamigawa. This is the broadcasting department. It's said that the first breeze of summer is called Qinglan. In this season of Qinglan, the school will welcome the annual basketball competition tomorrow. The broadcasting department will broadcast the results of each class in real time for everyone. During the lunch break tomorrow, the broadcasting department will invite student Toru Watanabe from Year 2 Class 4 to talk about some topics and answer some questions. Everyone is welcome to write to the broadcasting department. Finally, I wish everyone a happy lunch. I wish each class a good victory in the basketball competition. After the broadcast ended, the girls in the class looked at Toru Watanabe with expressions of anticipation, excitement, amusement, and excitement. The atmosphere in the classroom began to stir. It seemed that many people were preparing to submit their letters. Why are you going to the broadcasting department? Miki Kujo asked Toru Watanabe after the lunch break ended. I'm going to say, I love Miki. Miki Kujo smiled calmly. I'm looking forward to it. If that's the case, I'll go too. Rin Kiyono rubbed her chin and muttered. Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo looked at her at the same time. You're going too? Toru Watanabe asked. When I went to the Human Observation Department at noon, they invited me, but I refused. Rin Kiyono looked at Miki Kujo and explained. What I mean is, why did you go? Toru Watanabe continued to ask. Because you went, of course. Rin Kiyono was still looking at Miki Kujo. Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe and lifted her chin slightly, meaning, explain, explain, don't say I didn't give you a chance. This, that. Why don't the three of us go together? That's right. The trio that stands at the top of Kamigawa should be together. Under Kujo's cruel gaze and Kiyono's mocking gaze, Toru Watanabe said passionately, As the saying goes, a triangle is the most stable structure. As long as the three of us are together, we can be as fast and brilliant as fireworks, and as flowing as a river. For example, the 3 Egyptian gods, the 3 brave warriors, the 3 demon gods, the 3 visits to the thatched cottage, the 3 vows in the peach garden, and the 3 reeds in my house. Toru Watanabe didn't know what he was saying anymore. The 2 ladies' gazes were truly frightening. After school, the broadcasting department announced again, Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo have been added as guests at the last minute. Please send us your letters. So far, the only people who believed that Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono were friends were probably the 3 of them. In the eyes of the others, tomorrow's lunch break was going to be a live broadcast of hell's slaughter. Why did such a thing happen? Toru Watanabe couldn't understand. At first, he only wanted to use this opportunity to tell everyone at school that he already had someone he loved. This was all Rin Kiyono's fault. She changed her mind and made the situation. Wait a moment. Question: can a god be wrong? Answer: no. So the only one who could be wrong was Toru Watanabe. He agreed to the broadcasting department's request for no reason and made it seem like he was a pure lover. Bah, scumbag. Toru Watanabe looked down on scumbags the most. It was almost dusk, and the sky outside the window was orange and indigo. Miki Kujo, Toru Watanabe, and Rin Kiyono were chatting as they walked through the golden corridor towards the human observation department. While marking the test papers in class, Aona Koizumi looked up at the glass window of the office. The light coming in from there dyed a certain teacher's teacup by the window the color of dusk. School's almost over. As soon as she said this, her heart began to beat faster. After school, when they returned to their apartment in Shinono-cho, Toru Watanabe would hug her. Where would he hug her from? The front. The back. When he hugged her, where should she put her hands? Hugging his neck? Or his waist? What if she hugged his waist, and he hugged her waist as well? Would their hands become entangled? Would they really just hug each other for a short while after hugging each other? Miyuki often said that if a boy liked a girl, it was impossible for him not to think about that kind of thing. Would Toru Watanabe take the opportunity to kiss her, and then... Aona Koizumi felt her blood heating up, and an indescribable impulse surged through her body. She hurriedly stopped her random thoughts. She had never been attracted to a boy before, but now that she was 25, was it finally happening? She looked out the window. The sky that was divided into 2 colors would soon become 1 color. Huangzi stretched her arms and groaned. It's finally time to get off work. Seinai, are you going back? She turned her chair around and looked at Aona Koizumi, who was next to her. Aona Koizumi's hands left her keyboard, and she stared at her laptop screen without moving. On her desk, 79 roses stood in a corner. What's the matter? Huangzi kicked off her chair, and the chair with rollers slid to Aona Koizumi's side. Are you jealous because of the broadcast? She lowered her voice and asked. Aona Koizumi regained her senses and smiled. No, I'm thinking about what to eat tonight. That boy is coming tonight as well. Huangzi asked again. Yeah. So you're thinking about your sweetheart. Huangzi kicked off her chair again and returned to her desk listlessly. The 2 of them packed up and left the school. Aona Koizumi held a large bouquet of roses and walked to the infirmary in embarrassment. It wasn't time for the student club activities to end yet, but it was inevitable that she would run into teachers. No matter if they were familiar with each other or not, they would always come up to tease each other. When the door to the infirmary opened, Miyuki saw Aona Koizumi in the bouquet and immediately smiled. How blissful. Aona Koizumi blushed. She was really embarrassed, so she urged, Hurry up, let's go home. The wife is in a hurry to go home and prepare dinner for the husband? Miyuki. Aona Koizumi said unhappily. Her voice was like a spoiled child, full of happiness. Eat first? Shower first? Or... Yeah, Huangzi rubbed her shoulders and made a flirtatious gesture. You too. Seriously. After fooling around for a while, Miyuki changed her clothes and the three of them went to the parking lot. Aona Koizumi was in charge of driving while Huang Zi sat in the passenger seat. Miyuki and 79 Roses were in the back. After fastening her seatbelt, Aona Koizumi didn't set off immediately. Instead, she played a song. As long as I can hold you in my arms. Following the slow melody, she stepped on the accelerator and drove out of the parking lot. She was especially focused when driving. She always had both hands on the steering wheel and her eyes on the surroundings. She couldn't hear the song at all, but today she wanted to play it. No matter what, tomorrow will come. As long as you're here, we can still hold each other. I have no other requests. I want to be by your side all the time. When the car reached the main road, Huang Zi smacked her lips and summoned the song list interface. After changing the song, she finally leaned back comfortably on the seat. Koizumi Aonai quickly glanced at her, and in the next second, the new song sounded. I've become someone else's girlfriend. The person I'm dating now is different from you. The three of them, who had been friends for 10 years, laughed at the same time. Huang Zi, you did a good job. Miyuki said with a smile. Of course. Huang Zi said proudly. Then, the two of them started singing together. They looked at Aona Koizumi, who was driving, as if they had been dumped. In the singing of the two, Koizumi Aonai also gently nodded along with the rhythm, and the car was filled with laughter. When they were happy, sad songs were also happy. Her voice was very soft and trembling as she said, "Come here and hug me." Toru Watanabe walked over and put his hands on Aona Koizumi's curvy shoulders, making her turn around. "Teacher, you can cook. I won't disturb you." Aona Koizumi trembled as she turned around. When she took out the ingredients from the shopping bag, Toru Watanabe hugged her from behind. Teacher Koizumi, who was admired by the teachers and students of Kamigawa, fell into Toru Watanabe's hands. "Teacher, continue cooking. I'm hungry." Toru Watanabe put his chin on her shoulder and said in her ear. Aona Koizumi bit her lower lip. Her cheeks were red and her eyes were sparkling as if there were tears in them. She lowered her head and looked at Toru Watanabe's hands around her waist. "Are you done hugging?" She was very flustered, afraid that Huang Zi and the rest would suddenly walk in. "No. You said you'd only hug me once. Did I hug you twice?" Aona Koizumi tried to choose the ingredients, but her brain was in a mess. She could not think clearly. In front of Toru Watanabe was Aona Koizumi's black hair. When she stood on the podium, her black hair was filled with the dignity of a teacher. No one dared to offend her. At this moment, he put his nose close to her, sniffed her fragrance, and said softly, "It smells so good. Your body is also warm." Toru Watanabe intimately stuck to Aona Koizumi. In a trance, he felt as if he had returned to his childhood. Aona Koizumi was worried about whether there was chalk dust in her hair. She suppressed her embarrassment and removed the roots of the asparagus. At a certain moment, when she felt a strange feeling in her she turned around and pushed Toru Watanabe away. She looked at Toru Watanabe with a red face and the dignity of a teacher. "Watanabe, show some respect to your teacher. If you continue like this, I'll be angry." "I'm sorry, teacher. I couldn't control myself." Aona Koizumi quickly glanced at Toru Watanabe. Her face turned redder and angrier. "You're a student now. Although your grades are good, you can't relax. If you don't get first place in the country during the official exam, I'll kill myself out of guilt. The love between a teacher and a student doesn't need to be so heavy." "I'm not joking with you." Aona Koizumi's tone was strict. She had the attitude of a teacher lecturing her student. "I'm sorry," Toru Watanabe said with shame. "For teacher, I'll study hard." "What do you mean for me?" Aona Koizumi was about to waver again. She quickly put on a straight face. "Although we're dating now, you have to prioritize your studies. Do you hear me? If your grades drop, I'll inform your parents. Don't expect me to indulge you. If there's a punishment for dropping my grades, then is there a reward for maintaining first place? Reward? You can't just have a punishment without a reward, right? I won't do such a thing. What reward do you want? Koizumi became shy again. Let me think. Toru Watanabe imitated Rin Kiyono. He put his hand on his chin and muttered, "If it's a school exam, the first place will hug 3 times. If it's a national exam, the first place will kiss once." Kiss. Kiss. No way, no way. Aona Koizumi shook her head. Teacher, don't you want a kiss? Do you still remember that time? You were facing the mirror. Aona Koizumi reached out and picked up the kitchen knife from the chopping board. In front of the mirror? Toru Watanabe raised his hand. Nothing. Don't mention those things, understand? Understood. It seemed that those things were quite embarrassing for Aona Koizumi. They were absolutely forbidden topics. Aona Koizumi put down the kitchen knife and let out a long breath as if she had switched personalities. First place in school, hug once. First place in the country, hug 3 times. After that, she turned back and continued to process the asparagus. Only then did she realize that there were some unwanted roots left on the chopping board, and there were some unwanted roots in the shopping bag beside the chopping board that was used as a trash bag. When she was hugged by Toru Watanabe just now, her head was so hot that she couldn't think straight. Toru Watanabe also came to help. The kitchen became busy. Watanabe, wash the pot. Okay. Help me get some eggs. They're in the fridge. How many do you want? Taste them and see if they're suitable. Phew. Spit them out. Don't burn them. Except for a little accident when tasting the dishes, the 2 of them cooperated seamlessly. In the spacious kitchen, the sound of chopping on the chopping board, the sizzling of the food in the pot, and the buzzing of the gas stove. Everything was harmonious and natural. After dinner, Toru Watanabe was chased away, and Aona Koizumi ordered him to do his homework. May 4th, Friday. It was a sunny day. After 2 days of rain, Tokyo shone brightly. The vending machines by the roadside looked brand new as if they had been repainted. Toru Watanabe walked up the slope in front of the school. The green cherry tree leaves extended to the middle of the slope, turning it into a boulevard. On the avenue, the sunlight was scattered all over the ground. In front of him, Rin Kiyono walked alone in the spots of light, like a white bellflower dancing in the wind. Every time he saw this scene, Toru Watanabe's mood inexplicably improved. He wanted to go up and scare her, such as patting her shoulder or deliberately pulling her charming long hair, but he decided against it. He would definitely be scolded. Good morning, Kiyono classmate. He walked up and called out to the bellflower. Good morning, Watanabe classmate. The bellflower left the wind and landed to greet Toru Watanabe. They didn't talk much, although there was a lot to talk about, such as the ball game. The 2 of them walked up the slope in silence, bathing in the May sun. It was already very comfortable. When Toru Watanabe came back from the activity room after delivering the roses, Miki Kujo was already in the classroom. Normally, she wouldn't come on a day like this. She would sleep in on the large white bed with curtains. The reason she appeared here was because Toru Watanabe suggested that the 3 of them accept the invitation of the broadcasting department. Miki, you're still so cute today. Toru Watanabe sat down in his seat and turned to Miki Kujo. Yeah. Miki Kujo lazily responded. Didn't sleep well? I was busy. Pay more attention to rest. I don't have anything to do tonight. I can finally have a good day's rest. Her voice was very pleasant, and now it had a special flavor. Outside the window, the flower bed in the atrium was planted with some connecting grass. The ball game wasn't worth mentioning. Toru Watanabe tried his best to pass the ball and let the other teammates show off. Even if he disappointed the female fans, who were expecting him to show off his prowess, he didn't perform any exciting scenes. It was enough that Mai was the one who fell in love at first sight. He didn't want anyone to fall in love with him because of something. But even so, the female students cheered when they saw him wearing sportswear and running around the waxed basketball court. He didn't have anything interesting to do, but something else happened that had nothing to do with them. He remembered that it was a girls' competition between Year 1 Class 1 and Year 1 Class 2. He didn't know if it was because they didn't know how to play basketball, but in the middle of the competition, all the girls gathered around a basket and waited for the ball to fall. Then, they immediately threw it up. Toru Watanabe saw with his own eyes the scene of someone shooting the ball into the opponent's basket. Some of the girls in the audience were still cheering loudly. The PE teacher who acted as the referee was stunned for a while before blowing the whistle. Because it was too funny. Next year, the ball game would be changed to football, but there were still people talking about it. At noon, when Toru Watanabe and the two beautiful girls went to the broadcasting department, he told them about it. "What's so funny? Are you joking? Two boring girls. Lord Watanabe won't serve you anymore. Are you saying that I'm boring?" Rin Kiyono looked at him. "No. I heard it too," Miki Kujo said. "Toru Watanabe, you're getting bolder and bolder. Let's go, don't let the broadcasting department wait too long. We're the top 3 in Kamigawa, we can't be rude." "Alright, what do you think of the top 3 in Kamigawa, the Kawakami trio?" "Nothing much." The two who said the same thing looked at each other in an unfriendly manner. As expected of people with old feelings. In the past, it was because they didn't see each other. Now, because of Toru Watanabe, the two of them communicated more frequently. Toru Watanabe even believed that he didn't need to do anything for now. The two of them would appreciate each other sooner or later, and either openly announce that they were friends, or refuse to admit that they were bad friends. Would the honest Rin Kiyono have no choice but to admit it, and then Miki Kujo would admit it because she was embarrassed? Or would there be other developments? Toru Watanabe looked forward to that day. When they arrived at the broadcasting department, the three of them accepted an interview. Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono used new microphones and chairs. Toru Watanabe specifically reminded them yesterday when he came over. "Good afternoon, everyone. This is the broadcasting department. We have 3 guests today. Please introduce yourselves." Miki Kujo. "Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rin Kiyono." Toru Watanabe. In the broadcasting department, Rin Kiyono glanced at Toru Watanabe. "Today, I'm going to be the cold and aloof Toru Watanabe," Toru Watanabe explained. Although they didn't know what was going on, everyone in the school laughed when they heard Toru Watanabe say this. "Kun Watanabe always gives people the impression that he's cold and aloof," the host said. "Everyone misunderstands me. I'm not cold and aloof at all. If you're in the same class as me in the 1st grade, you should know that before I started dating Miki, I still dared to talk to girls." "Ha ha ha, you dared?" "I did it willingly. My K-san has a really good temper, and he loves me so much." "Kujo-san, is what Kun Watanabe said true?" the host asked. "Of course. I love Watanabe the most. Isn't that right, Kiyono-san? Are you begging me? Your face is really big." Miki Kujo said. "My face is as big as yours." "No, your face is a bit bigger than mine. If your eyes aren't good, you can give them away. Even I have to admit that your eyes are really beautiful." "Watanabe, whose face is bigger?" Miki Kujo sneered at Rin Kiyono while asking Toru Watanabe. "I can't tell. I've only touched your face before, Miki. It feels the same size." Without waiting for the two to speak, Toru Watanabe said to the host, "Didn't you receive a letter? Let's start." "I haven't had lunch yet." "Oh, okay." In the teacher's office, the teachers were laughing like crazy. Huang Zi slapped his thigh and said to Aona Koizumi, "Later, you should also ask that kid Watanabe." "Ask what?" "Whose face is bigger? How can I compare to a 16-year-old girl? If you can't compare, would I let you ask? The shape of your face is different, but the size is about the same. And the size of your face isn't the key. If Watanabe didn't say that your face is small, don't let him touch it for a month. What nonsense are you talking about? The two female teachers whispered. Without the cover of a boyfriend, they imparted their experience to Aona Koizumi, who had a boyfriend. This time, we received a lot of letters, but time is limited, and they can't be difficult questions for the guests, so we only chose 5 letters. First is the first one. The pen name is Senpai is so handsome. The content of the letter is, Watanabe Senpai is so handsome. Watanabe Senpai is super handsome. It was a warm letter, but it also expressed everyone's thoughts. What do the 3 of you think about this? So handsome, Senpai. Miki Kujo said with a smile. Really handsome, Senpai. Rin Kiyono's voice was gentle. Compared to Senpai, I prefer to be called brother. Please do it again. Give me a letter of remorse tonight. Yes. Ha ha ha, Kuan Watanabe and Kujo classmate are so loving. Next is the second letter. The pen name is Kiyono's Big Sister's Fan Club. Big Sister, can you hold a handshake party? We are all female fans. Yes. No. Also, please disband. So handsome. Toru Watanabe applauded. What a pitiful fan club. But I think that's what they like about Kiyo-san. The third letter. The pen name is Kujo's follower. Queen Kujo, we are willing to pledge our loyalty to you. Disband. You guys disband too, Toru Watanabe said. Disband. I only accept Watanabe's loyalty. Watanabe, when will you pledge your loyalty to me? Any time, Your Majesty. The 3 of you are so unique. The fourth letter. The pen name is Kuan Watanabe's fan club. Kuan Watanabe, have you ever considered debuting? We will be your fans forever. Also, can you say some personal hobbies and things you like? No. My hobbies are Mickey, and I also like Mickey. Mickey, I love you. I hear you. Watanabe classmate, I admire you for this, but can I ask you a question? Let's talk about it when we have time. I'm a little curious about Kiyono classmate's question. The last letter. Play the trombone. Kuan Watanabe, do you think Kujo classmate is cuter, or Kiyono classmate is cuter? We are also curious about this question. In school, everyone has held a poll, and the winner has won and lost. As Watanabe classmate who has the best relationship with Kujo classmate and Kiyono classmate, who do you think is cuter? Toru Watanabe took the letter and glanced at it. Play the trombone. He read out the pen name. What's wrong? The host was puzzled. Nothing, I just feel malice. Toru Watanabe put down the letter. In terms of cuteness, I think the 2 of them are about the same. What did you say? I didn't hear you clearly. Miki Kujo said. But, Miki is my girlfriend, so she is a little cuter in my heart. Liar. Think about it carefully, Kiyono classmate is my best friend, the 2 of them are just as cute. In the following time, the whole school listened to Toru Watanabe being educated by Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono. Yoshimi Tamamo, I will remember you. Chapter 261. There were no club activities on the day of the tournament. 2 minutes before school ended, Miki Kujo, who was killing time in the classroom, received a call from her mother. Baby, come and accompany me tonight. Kujo's mother's voice was bright and light. I'm not going. You don't have work today. Why don't you come and accompany me? After a slight pause, Kujo's mother's voice became meaningful. Kuan Watanabe wants to go to your place? Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe with a questioning gaze. She was asking the obvious. During the day, she told Toru Watanabe that she had nothing to do tonight, which meant that she wanted him to go to her place. This kind of thing couldn't be exposed in front of everyone. Facing Miki Kujo's gaze, Toru Watanabe nodded, indicating that he wanted to go. He really did want to go. Every day, he would hug Mickey 3 times. This sentence came from the bottom of his heart. He said he wants to go to my place. Mickey Kujo said to the other end of the phone. A teasing laugh came from the phone. Then let Kun Watanabe come too. I haven't seen him in a long time. He said he doesn't want to see you. Mickey Kujo answered without hesitation. Toru Watanabe was speechless. Really? Really? Mickey Kujo said with a smile. Then I have to see him and let him know how to respect his mother. Toru Watanabe snatched the phone from Mickey Kujo's hand. Auntie Kujo, don't listen to Mickey's nonsense. I was just about to visit you. Really? Kujo's mother's voice was touching. Really? Toru Watanabe promised. That's good. I thought you forgot about me. We spent a happy Christmas together. I forgot about Jesus, but I can't forget about you on Christmas. Kujo's mother smiled like a young girl and said with a smile, I don't believe you. Everything a boy says is fake. Absolutely. Why would I lie to you? I only say sweet nothings to Mickey. I respect you from the bottom of my heart. Well then, Kun Watanabe, tell me, who's prettier between me and Mickey? What? Crepe. Do you want a crepe? Okay, I'll bring it to you. That's all. See you later. Bye-bye. After hanging up, Toru Watanabe returned the phone to Mickey Kujo and shook his head as if he didn't want this to happen again. I can't stand your mother. You're quite good at fooling people. Mickey Kujo sneered. Do you usually fool me like this? Once in a while. Most of the time, it's the truth. Most of the time. Without taking the phone, Mickey Kujo reached out and twisted Toru Watanabe's ear. Wait, not even once in a while. Ouch, ouch, I won't do it again. Won't do it? I think you're fooling me with this sentence too. Mickey, you're so smart. Hiss. After school, the two of them went to the large house where Kujo's mother lived. As soon as they got out of the car, Mickey Kujo directly went to take a shower. Toru Watanabe could only go to visit Kujo's mother by himself. Walking through the winding wooden corridor, he saw Kujo's mother dressed as a gardener in the garden. He changed his shoes, went down the corridor, and stepped onto the neat path in the courtyard. The courtyard was like a secret realm of trees and flowers. Inside, he couldn't hear the noise of Tokyo. Only birds singing in the trees could be heard. Of these trees and flowers, Toru Watanabe only recognized the purple sunflower, rose, gardenia, and the fragrant lavender that bloomed in the sun. However, these were only a small corner of the courtyard. The two servants who followed Kujo's mother bowed to Toru Watanabe as he approached. Young Master Watanabe. Toru Watanabe nodded to them and didn't say anything. He just stood there and watched Kujo's mother plant saplings in the soil. It was now May, and the sky was still bright at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At that time, Toru Watanabe's nose was lingering with a refreshing fragrance. He didn't know which flower's fragrance it was. After burying the sapling's roots, Kujo's mother stood up. Germany's crimson rose. She turned around and said to Toru Watanabe, When will it bloom? Toru Watanabe looked at the saplings. I plan to let it bloom in the fall. Toru Watanabe nodded. Roses at the end of spring and the beginning of summer naturally bloomed in the fall. Kujo's mother's words were very interesting. There was a desire to command everything in it. Because of Mickey Kujo, Toru Watanabe didn't dislike women with this kind of personality. Kun Watanabe knows about roses? Kujo's mother reached out and the servant took the tools in her hand. I know nothing about flowers. Roses in autumn are more beautiful and graceful than roses in spring. Is that so? Not only are there differences in species, but also in seasons? Toru Watanabe asked curiously. She didn't answer his question. Kujo's mother, who had planted a patch of crimson roses, was still full of energy. Do you like autumn roses or spring roses? She said. I've never paid attention to autumn roses. But if I have to say, I like seasonal flowers, whether it's seasonal vegetables or seasonal flowers. Seasonal, I remember, you and Rin have the same birthday. Then I like August flowers. Toru Watanabe changed his words. It was now May, 3 months older than August. Kujo's mother laughed. It's almost June. I just remembered your and Rin's birthdays. Why do you have to deliberately explain? Did Miki grow up here? Toru Watanabe looked around and changed the topic. When she was young, this was the secret garden where she and Rin played hide-and-seek and played house. Kujo's mother walked on the path. Toru Watanabe followed behind her. The two maids fell further away. Look at this vine, Kujo's mother said. Toru Watanabe looked over. The vines had withered, and long bean sticks were hanging on the vine. There used to be a swing here. Miki and Rin used to play rock-paper-scissors to decide who would push the swing. Miki was unlucky and didn't win once. When I went over, she was crying and pushing the swing. Crying and pushing the swing. Toru Watanabe was stunned for a moment, and then couldn't help but laugh. I really want to see Miki at that time. She must have been very cute. My daughter, of course she was cute. Kujo's mother said. My girlfriend, of course she was cute. Toru Watanabe echoed. Kuan Watanabe, Kujo's mother turned around. If I was born 20 years later, I might have fallen in love with you. We're both Kujo's son-in-law. It makes no difference to me. Continue to tell me about Miki's childhood. I want to know more. Do you see this alfalfa? It was simply a small hillside. The hillside was filled with green grass, and there were light purple flowers blooming on the grass. Alfalfa? I thought it was a pea seedling. It looks a bit like it. Kujo's mother said with a smile. Miki and Rin often ran here. Rin was weak and always got shaken off by Miki. Did she train by pushing the swing? Toru Watanabe laughed. Ha ha ha. Kujo's mother laughed. Kuan Watanabe, you're good at coaxing girls. No wonder Miki loves you so much. We loved each other deeply. Rin Kiyono was always shaken off. What happened after that? She couldn't catch up, so she could only cry. The two had a big fight. Before leaving, Rin lost her temper and said she would never come again. The next day, the two stayed together to catch butterflies. All with Rin Kiyono? Toru Watanabe asked. Hearing this question, the smile on Kujo's mother's face faded. In those two children's childhood, only the time they were happy together was when they were together. Whether it was crying on the swing or being left behind, they always made up. At this point, she paused and turned to Toru Watanabe. Kiyono's mother asked for your help to make Rin give up her insistence on not lying. I'm very much in favor of this. If she can give up, she and Miki might be able to become friends again. Miki has sacrificed too much for this family. She shouldn't have no friends. I'm already trying to make them friends again, but I won't do anything extra. Extra? Kujo's mother asked. For example, deliberately asking the two to go out and let the two be alone. I hope to let nature take its course and respect their own opinions. If it can be done, then it can be done. If it can't be done, then it can't be done. I understand your thoughts, but that won't get us anywhere. Kiyono's mother and I went to the same school and asked them to play together during the holidays. So far, we haven't gotten anything. If there's no harvest, then there's no harvest. Toru Watanabe's nonchalant answer surprised Kujo's mother. She froze for a moment, then laughed again. I really can't underestimate you, Kuan Watanabe. Isn't it better to have the ability? I'm the son-in-law of the Kujo family. What are you doing over there? Miki Kujo's voice came from the other side of the house. The two of them looked over. She was standing in the corridor in loose home clothes, like a newlywed wife. Let's go back. Our daughter is getting jealous. She does like to get jealous. I'm going to complain. Please let me go. Toru Watanabe and Kujo's mother changed their shoes and went to the corridor. What did you talk about? Miki Kujo asked Toru Watanabe. If I was born 20 years later, Kun Watanabe was going to marry me, Kujo's mother replied. Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe. I refused. Toru Watanabe said, I told your mother, even if you were born 20 years later, I would still marry your sister, Miki. How annoying. Do I look younger than Miki? Kujo's mother held her face with both hands, as if feeling the elasticity of her face. After all, I was born 20 years later. Now, 12 years old? That's too young. Kujo's mother couldn't help but laugh. Sigh, after planting the flowers, I laughed again. I'm going to take a bath. Miki Kujo watched her mother leave, then turned to Toru Watanabe. What did you talk about? When you were young. Toru Watanabe pulled her into his arms. Miki Kujo had just taken a bath. Her snow-white skin was faintly red, like the color of the roses in the garden. Her slightly contemptuous and cold eyes were mesmerizing. What did you talk about? She asked casually. Toru Watanabe hadn't taken a bath yet, and he had participated in the basketball competition during the day. Miki Kujo sniffed, but didn't smell any sweat. She said that you haven't won in rock paper scissors, so you cried and pushed the swing. What do you think? Rin Kiyono is so heartless. She's so heartless. By the way, how about revenge next Monday? Rock paper scissors again. Every time you lose, you have to run around the field. You run for me. She won't agree, right? You still have to go to school tomorrow. It's about the trumpet club. In the corridor, the two of them hugged each other. Toru Watanabe whispered in Miki Kujo's ear. Miki Kujo leaned lazily in Toru Watanabe's arms. The two of them looked at the dusk sky. After dinner, Toru Watanabe went to take a bath. He used Miki Kujo's bathroom. When he thought about the lingering scent of Miki Kujo in the bathroom, Toru Watanabe's mood became even more relaxed. After the bath, he changed into a thin, soft, and expensive bathrobe and walked down the corridor with the lights on. In the garden in the atrium, there were beautiful figures walking around under the faint light. It was Miki Kujo and her mother. Toru Watanabe stood in the corridor and looked at them, then looked at the night sky. The moon was bright, and the cotton-like white clouds flowed slowly. The wind carried the coolness of early May. Kujo's mother and Miki Kujo returned with a bunch of flowers. You're already so old and you're still playing with flowers? Toru Watanabe laughed at them. Do you know how to arrange flowers? Miki Kujo gave him all the flowers in her hands. I'm a country bumpkin and don't know. My older sister taught me. Kujo's mother was looking at the flowers in her hands, but when she heard Toru Watanabe's words, she looked at the two of them. You two are having a lot of fun. He says that everything has value that's worth trying. Miki Kujo looked at Toru Watanabe. We've tried on kimonos, school uniforms, formal dresses, and all sorts of postures. Hey, is this a topic we can discuss? After entering the house, the mother and daughter knelt in front of a low table and discussed flower arranging techniques. Toru Watanabe asked for a vase, picked up the flowers that they didn't want, and arranged them based on his feelings and preferences. Miki Kujo saw this and occasionally gave him a few pointers. If the branches are too long, you can break them. If the branches are loose, you can tie them into knots. You're using a low utensil, so you should consider it from an overhead angle and from the side. At this time, her voice became soft and gentle, as if she was worried that she would wake up the child in the cradle, leaving a soft aftertaste in Toru Watanabe's heart. The arranged flowers were placed in the main room, including Toru Watanabe's work of knotting the branches. Do you want to play chess? Or let someone set off fireworks and eat something? Or watch a movie? Kujo's mother suggested excitedly. Miki Kujo yawned elegantly. No, I'm sleepy. Then let Kun Watanabe play chess with me. You go to sleep. Kujo's mother's eyes were teasing her. You ask him. Miki Kujo got up and left the table. I'm going to take a shower. After she left, Toru Watanabe said to Kujo's mother, only one game. No. Kujo's mother smiled charmingly. You can only go if you win. When she said no, her expression was very similar to Miki Kujo's. Then I'll have to show you the full strength of Kamigawa's Dragon King. Tetsumasa Watanabe sat still. Oh. 30 minutes later. Aunt Kujo, I admit defeat. I'm thinking about chess. Sure. Mom, I was wrong. Please let me go. In chess, a game could be played from sunrise to sunset. If it dragged on, he wouldn't be able to leave until dawn. Young people are impatient and can't control themselves. Kujo's mother held a white chess piece and looked at the chessboard. Go. Good night, Mom. After Toru Watanabe left, Kujo's mother looked at the chessboard for a long time and finally sighed. The situation in front of her didn't seem to be clear, but she really didn't know where to place her pieces. The only ending she could think of was that she would lose. Miki, don't be fooled. Toru Watanabe walked along the winding corridor. When he thought of Miki Kujo waiting for him in the room, his heart was burning. He was looking forward to entering the bridal chamber. All kinds of insects in the courtyard were chirping, playing a symphony of reproduction. When he walked into the bedroom, Miki Kujo had already taken a shower and was waiting for him in a bathrobe. She was lying on the bed looking at a tablet. The collar of her bathrobe was wide open, and her entire shoulder was exposed through the wide collar. A trace of snowy white could be seen. When she heard Toru Watanabe's footsteps, she didn't raise her head. She said as if she was chatting with her husband who had just returned from playing cards, "You won? I lost." Toru Watanabe walked over and knelt on the edge of the soft bed. He reached out and lifted Miki Kujo's exposed snowy white thigh from the bathrobe. His lips gently landed on it. You lost. Miki Kujo's gaze fell on the tablet. Go. Your mother didn't play a single piece for a long time. Toru Watanabe's words mixed with his hot breath hit Miki Kujo's bare thigh. It was very ticklish. Miki Kujo lifted her leg. The smooth and soft sole of her foot was pressed against Toru Watanabe's teasing lips. This was really a kiss on her foot. There was a faint scent of freshly showered on it. Toru Watanabe moved her foot away. Because she lifted her leg, a large part of Miki Kujo's body was exposed under the bathrobe. Toru Watanabe's hands stroked the curve of her bare feet to her thighs. His body gently pressed against hers. Miki Kujo was still looking at the tablet. Miki. Toru Watanabe kissed her snowy white neck, the exposed shoulder of the bathrobe, and her curvy collarbone. Because of the ticklish feeling, Miki Kujo freed one hand to press against his head to prevent him from kissing her. But Toru Watanabe's hand was free. When her hand touched the place she wanted to touch, her delicate, beautiful, and inviolable face frowned slightly. Then, she relaxed her frown with relief. What are you looking at? Toru Watanabe was not in a hurry. He rested his head on her undulating chest and looked at the tablet together with her. Information, What information? The company's information. Hurry up. His hand sped up. Kiss me. Toru Watanabe propped up his upper body, raised his head, and bit Miki Kujo's delicate upper lip. He tasted it without restraint. Miki Kujo threw away the tablet and hugged Toru Watanabe's neck with both hands. Miki Kujo lay on the bed, her sweaty chest rising and falling. She closed her eyes contentedly. A few strands of black hair stuck to her cheeks. Toru Watanabe reached out and gently brushed them away for her. When her cheeks were touched, Miki Kujo's eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings. She slowly opened her eyes. What do you want for your birthday? She touched Toru Watanabe's face with infatuation. She looked into his eyes as if she wanted to see through his soul. Compared to our birthday, our 1-year anniversary is closer. What do you want? You actually remember? May 29th, Toru Watanabe said. What do you want, my Miki? All of you. Continue. Toru Watanabe's breathing became heavier. Come in, my Toru. The moonlight seeped in from the window and illuminated their overlapping silhouettes. Chapter 262. When Miki Kujo woke up, Toru Watanabe was no longer in the house. Her beautiful and noble gem-like eyes glanced to her side before she closed her eyes again. The antique interior and historical furniture seemed to have lost their charm and turned into black and white, weathered by the wind. "Miki, my Miki, are you awake?" A soft voice called out to her, and footsteps approached her. The world was suddenly filled with color. The furniture shone brightly, and the bed was just right for warmth. The sound of morning birds singing came from the courtyard, and the May sun shone in softly. She didn't say anything. She pretended to be asleep. She was waiting for the boy who called her name to wake her up. Toru Watanabe ran around the house twice, picked a rose in the garden, and returned to the bedroom. Miki Kujo lay gracefully on the soft bed. Her gorgeous black hair, delicate face, and fair arms were as radiant as the moon last night. She was pretending to be asleep. Miki Kujo's sleeping posture was very childish. Toru Watanabe walked over and put the rose under her beautiful nose. He also leaned over to smell it. The only thing between their faces was the morning rose. The petals brushed past her nose. It was a little itchy. Miki Kujo opened her eyes. Their gazes met. Toru Watanabe said, "Miki, I love you." Miki Kujo glanced at him, then looked down at the rose. She used her eyes to ask him what was going on. "I picked it in the garden. I promised to give you a rose every day. Not a day less. This is a May rose." Miki Kujo looked at the bright red petals of the rose. "A May rose that blooms in May? Good name. It's called the Queen of Flowers. It's a perfect match for you. It's rich in vitamins and natural pigments. It can improve endocrine loss and skin, freshen the body, and maintain a good figure. In addition, it can prevent wrinkles, nourish the skin, and make people look younger and more beautiful. Roses have so many uses. Aren't they meant to be admired? Where did you pick it?" Miki Kujo asked. "In the courtyard." "Idiot, that's what my mother planted for bathing." Toru Watanabe looked at the flowers, then at Miki Kujo, who was even more beautiful than the flowers. "In other words, we are smelling your mother's bathwater?" After a short pause, Toru Watanabe could not help but laugh. Miki Kujo looked at him coldly at first, and then she laughed. Toru Watanabe threw the flowers to the end of the bed, and the two hugged with a quilt between them. "Come in, sleep a little more." Miki Kujo patted Toru Watanabe's back. "Okay." Toru Watanabe released her and began to take off his clothes. "Don't take them off." "Yes, Your Majesty." Toru Watanabe lifted the blanket, took off half of his clothes, and crawled under the blanket. During breakfast, Kujo's mother looked at Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo walking in side by side. She could not help but admire them. A handsome man and a delicate daughter. The more she looked, the more satisfied she was with Toru Watanabe. He was smart, handsome, and interesting. Judging from her daughter's appearance, he was also excellent in bed. "Miki is becoming more and more feminine. Hurry up and teach your mother, how do you do it?" she teased. Miki Kujo glanced at Toru Watanabe and signaled for him to answer. "Every morning, I smell your bathwater," Toru Watanabe said. "Bathwater?" Kujo's mother was stunned. She looked in confusion at Miki Kujo, who was coldly putting pressure on Toru Watanabe. Miki Kujo walked to the long table and sat down. She picked up her knife and fork and said, "Early in the morning, he plucked a May rose and put it on my face. He even proudly showed it off." "May rose? The one in the yard?" Kujo's mother asked curiously. "Yes. That's not me." Kujo's mother realized and giggled. "That child, why can't he pluck any flower?" Her voice was full of vitality. It was unclear whether it was the May roses effect or the beautifying cream. Please stop talking. If you keep talking, I'll throw a tantrum and skip breakfast. Toru Watanabe smiled as he sat down across from Miki Kujo. The two of them looked at each other affectionately with smiling eyes. The table was filled with colorful flowers. The three of them happily ate breakfast. After enjoying the delicious breakfast, the two of them said goodbye and left the Kujo's mansion. Miki Kujo went to work, and Toru Watanabe went to school to prepare for the audition. Today was Saturday. He didn't have to go to school early, and he didn't have to practice his oboe like last year. Toru Watanabe leisurely arrived 10 minutes before the audition. At this time, among the 100 or so members of the audition club, the earliest to arrive had already practiced for 3 hours. The corridor on the 3rd floor of the club building was crowded with people. Some were practicing, and some were preparing for the audition. They were already nervous, but when they saw Toru Watanabe, they became nervous. This meant that the audition was about to begin. Kun Watanabe, good morning. Good morning. People kept greeting him. The personal attack last year had already faded away with one competition after another. Toru Watanabe showed his unparalleled playing skills time and time again. Many people even guessed Toru Watanabe's original intention. After all, he wasn't that kind of person before, and he didn't do that kind of thing later. Senpai. Watanabe. Senpai. Masanori Horikita took the whistle from her mouth and ran over. How are your preparations? Toru Watanabe looked at the whistle in her hand and remembered the days when he made his own whistle by the window after school last year. Not at all. Masanori Horikita said with a bitter face. Look at the places where I reminded you, and look at the things that you should pay attention to in the ensemble. I know. I will work hard, and I will not let Senpai down. As long as you are worthy of yourself. Toru Watanabe stopped chatting and walked into the music classroom. The classroom, which was usually full of stools and music stands, was empty. In the middle of the room, there were 3 stools, 2 desks, and a music stand. The 2 desks were for Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono, and the music stand was for the members participating in the audition. Rin Kiyono was already sitting at one of the desks, writing something on the music with a pencil. In the empty music classroom, there was only the rustling of her writing on the paper. Good morning, Kiyono-san. Toru Watanabe walked over and sat beside her. A light and sweet fragrance wafted over. Good morning. What are you writing? Every instrument is an important node. You are just helping, but you are so serious. Seino Rin didn't answer him. Sometimes he was deep in thought, and sometimes he was scribbling on the score. Between the notes, he wrote down the names of the instruments, such as clarinet, bass clarinet, flute, oboe. That should be the section about the upcoming assessment of each instrument. If he knew the assessment content a month in advance, he didn't know if he could use it to make a deal with the girls in the wind department and let them run errands to buy drinks. Toru Watanabe thought about meaningless things, and soon it was time for the audition. In the morning it was brass, and in the afternoon it was woodwinds and percussion. The first part of the audition was the bass horn. There were no longer any third-year members on the bass horn, so the first person to participate was the second-year Aoi Ichiki. She walked in nervously, sat uneasily across from the two of them, and put the music score with wrinkled edges on the music stand. Please state your year, name, and the instrument you are responsible for. Rin Kiyono said. Even though they were classmates, she still followed the procedure meticulously. Rin Kiyono would never show mercy just because of their good relationship, so she let Aoi Ichiki introduce herself respectfully as a junior or subordinate. Tuning? Rin Kiyono's voice was flat. It's already tuned. Choose the 30-second section and play it until I tell you to stop. Begin. Yes. Aoi Ichiki took 2 deep breaths, picked up the bass horn on her pleated skirt, took a 3rd deep breath, and put her lips on the horn. The deep bass horn vibrated the air in the music room in early May. Toru Watanabe listened quietly. Aoi Ichiki's voice was very similar to Masahi's voice. That's it. Rin Kiyono suddenly said. Aoi Ichiki's mind went blank, and she could only follow the instructions and put down her instrument. The bass horn's specialty is its soft tone, but it has a deep echo. Classmate Ichiki, go back and think about it. Yes. Aoi Ichiki's face turned pale after she answered subconsciously. Did he fail to be chosen? Her face was colored by my suspicions. Seeing that she was his classmate, Toru Watanabe said, Congratulations, classmate Ichiki. Aoi Ichiki stared at Toru Watanabe, but then she remembered that Rin Kiyono was the one who had the final say, so she looked at Rin Kiyono nervously. The results will be announced at noon. Rin Kiyono's tone was cold. Please call the next person in. Yes. Aoi Ichiki put away her music score and walked towards the classroom door. Is it okay to tell her in advance? How did you know she passed? Do you think I don't know you? You only say a few words to things you care about. For example, I've been scolded by you the most. Don't be so full of yourself. I scolded you because you deserved it. Hearing the conversation between the two behind her, Aoi Ichiki finally felt the thickness of the wooden floor under her feet. She passed. She was holding her instrument and music score, but she opened the classroom door with nimble movements. After the bass section was over, there was a 15-minute break. Except for Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono, only Aoi Ichiki, who confirmed that she passed, could rest. Everyone else, including the bass section member who had already finished her interview, was extremely nervous. Toru Watanabe propped up his chin and stared out the window. He could vaguely hear the cheers of the baseball and track and field clubs. Everyone was cheering for the competition. He turned his head and said to Rin Kiyono, who was writing down the list of qualified candidates, I heard that when you were a child, you won at rock paper scissors for an entire afternoon and made Mickey push the swing for an entire afternoon? She told you? Her mother. Rin Kiyono nodded. Are you good at rock paper scissors? Toru Watanabe continued. I've only played rock paper scissors with Miki Kujo, but I don't know if I'm good at it. Toru Watanabe's hand, which wasn't supporting his head, clenched into a fist and stretched it between the two of them. The loser will treat us to lunch today, he said. Did you bring any change? Rin Kiyono put down her pen. You still haven't paid me back the money I paid you on Valentine's Day. You're quite confident. Toru Watanabe sat up straight and rolled up his sleeves. Unfortunately, you're the one who's treating us. You should be the one thinking about whether or not you brought any change. Sunlight shone through the gaps formed by the white curtains. Toru Watanabe was backlit, and the sunlight gently shone on Rin Kiyono's face. After the first round, 2 out of 3 is fine, Toru Watanabe said proudly. No need. After a slight pause, Rin Kiyono said, Let's bet on dinner. I admire your courage in admitting defeat. Oh. Rin Kiyono sneered. The second sentence was still Toru Watanabe's victory. Sigh. The winner let out a sad sigh. Again. Tomorrow's lunch. You didn't send roses today, right? If you win, I'll forgive you. You really hold a grudge. I'll have to be careful of you in the future. With your character, you've already written on the first page of your diary, always be careful of that woman Kiyono. You guessed wrong, I wrote, no matter when, where, be careful of Ratatouille. With that, the winner of the fourth round was decided. Toru Watanabe's slender hand was a fist, while Rin Kiyono's white and slender hand was a pair of scissors. Again. Rin Kiyono's face was expressionless. If you win, I'll forgive you for writing bad things about me in your diary. If I win, you'll give me your diary. The stakes seemed disproportionate, but forget it, rock, paper, scissors. In the fifth round, the winner continued his victory. Rin Kiyono carefully sized up Toru Watanabe, unscrupulously staring at his face. He didn't need to do anything. Any woman who stared at his handsome face would fall in love with it. Did you cheat? She said. No. Toru Watanabe answered with a smile, also staring at her face. It's all luck? Yes. Lies. I just reacted quickly. I could clearly see what you were thinking when you punched. Rin Kiyono took the music score, turned her back, and wrote something on it. Then, she turned around and said to Toru Watanabe, I've already written down what I'm going to bet. What are you going to bet? Still like this? This time, the stakes are all the previous ones. If I win, I'll win all the previous ones. Then what if you lose? Toru Watanabe asked curiously. The stakes are so high this time, Kiyono classmate, what are you going to bet? If I lose. Rin Kiyono pondered for a moment, then raised her jade-like little finger. Toru Watanabe looked at her in confusion. I allow you to touch the little finger of the goddess Kiyono. Toru Watanabe pressed her hand down. Don't give me that. His palm briefly touched the smooth back of Rin Kiyono's hand. Late at night after a dance last year, he briefly hugged her slender waist through her clothes. At the Kyoto station, he put his hands on her curvy shoulders through her costume. Just now, he touched her body for the first time. Warm and tender, smooth and delicate, gentle and steady. With a lingering touch and slight warmth, Toru Watanabe's heartstrings were touched, numbed, and then filled with warmth. I agree to your bet, he said. You obviously have a girlfriend, but you're playing this kind of game with me. How vulgar. Rin Kiyono pressed the back of her hand that was touched. Yeah, vulgar. And vulgar. Vulgar, too vulgar. Toru Watanabe scolded himself with her. The touch of Rin Kiyono's hand still lingered in his heart, and it didn't leave for a long time. At that moment, he was willing to give up everything to keep this touch. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe's clear eyes, which were now looking at her with a burning gaze. She pressed the hand that was touched on her knee. Tell me, what do you want? Toru Watanabe stretched out his hand and slowly clenched it into a fist. Stone. Rin Kiyono confirmed. Finally, Toru Watanabe flicked his index and ring fingers and made a peace sign in front of his right eye. Scissors, he said. Rin Kiyono didn't say anything, and tightly held the hand that was just touched. The two of them sat very close to each other, as if they were desk mates. Toru Watanabe, with his excellent hearing, could hear the sound of her heart thumping. Forget it, I'll stick with stone. When Toru Watanabe said this, he had already broken free from the girl's spell of infatuation. The increasingly dangerous magic power disappeared into the clear May sky along with the cheers of the sports club outside the window. I won. Rin Kiyono showed him the music score and wrote paper in the blank space in the corner. I'll treat you to lunch and dinner. When should I give you the diary? I'll go with you when it's over, so you don't secretly change it. Okay, I'll listen to you. After the break, Rin Kiyono sat up straight, and Toru Watanabe rolled up his sleeves. Watanabe-san. Yes? Not only are you vulgar, but you're also very timid. Please call this single-mindedness. Single-mindedness with two lovers? How did you know? Toru Watanabe remembered that he didn't tell her about Aona Koizumi. What about you that I don't know? Why are you still reading my diary? You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.